pause, put the controller down. It's time to talk about the gaming industry. Again, my name is TJ Leo.
And I am wishing that I had a webcam so I could pretend to freeze like happened the first time we tried to do this today. Yeah. I am Andrew.
Indeed. Yes, you are. You are indeed Andrew. And this is episode 16 of Press Pause, a gaming podcast. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. I am pretty good today.
The weather continues to be rainy.
Yep.
Not
as rainy as it is in some other places, though.
Yeah, I was talking about the hurricane with Cult 2K on the wrestling podcast because he's down in Georgia.
Oh.
But he got away unscathed. Just a lot of rain for him.
Yeah. Well, you know who didn't get away unscathed?
Who?
LGR, whose house was hit by a falling tree. So that, and he posted a video on his channel, and apparently some of the flooding got into his collection. So that's like, that's, man. I mean, obvious nothing in comparison to what other people have lost, including their lives. Like, I'm not saying that the loss of anything in that collection is in any way more tragic than, you know, what's... what
is it, 200 people have died so far?
Probably at least that. I mean, I can't tell you how many videos I've seen of whole houses floating away. But I'm just saying, like, in the space that we're in, you know, games and technology, you know, being fans, especially of retro games, which, you know, we grew up with because we're old, it does hurt to hear that collection has been damaged. But again, it's incidental compared to the actual damage to people. And Clint himself is apparently doing fine. I mean, he was, you know,
good.
He posted the video. He looked like he was doing good. He said he was doing good. Apparently his family is good. So very
Sweet.
happy for that. But yeah, it makes the rain we're getting here seem insignificant.
It definitely does. We definitely have a shield where we live.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot in our city. Everything that bad weather related seems to happen around the city, but never in the city. So we're very lucky in this particular spot in Canada. Mm-hmm. But yeah, best wishes to everyone affected by the hurricane. Crazy hurricane. A little bit of housekeeping and corrections before we start. As always, we are on Spotify. Mm-hmm. So if you want the audio-only version, check that out. It goes up at the same time that the video does on YouTube. I know we have a couple of people that actually like listening to it at work and stuff like that. So it was a good idea to put it on Spotify, apparently. I have a correction, but I'm going to leave it for later in the show when it matches a piece of news that we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to keep that for later. Before we get into our gaming thoughts, I don't think I've worn this particular shirt before, so I've kept it hidden from you. Since we started. I thought you would appreciate it.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the reveal.
Sure.
Don't worry, I'm not stripping.
You got my boy on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Ultros. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And there's the little alien from Final Fantasy VIII as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that.
Wicked
nice.
Shirt. Eh? Yeah.
Very nice.
Love my gaming shirts. That one is one of my favorites. Very, very cool. But yeah, let's get into what we're playing. We talked our sort of first impressions of Zelda and Star Wars Outlaws last week, and we have both beaten Zelda or we have both beaten our respective games.
Yes.
You beat Zelda, I've beat Star Wars Outlaws, so we can sort of give our final thoughts on these. Since you talked about Zelda first last week, I'll go first this week and get my Outlaws thoughts out. So one thing I think that sucks for people who quit on the game early is that it does get way better.
Okay.
As the game goes on. But I also, at the same time, think that the design of it was really what hampered it. I feel like a lot of the things that you end up unlocking later in the game should have been earlier.
Yeah, yeah. I've played games with that issue.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, this makes combat much more dynamic. This makes space combat much more dynamic. This makes blah 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 more dynamic. Like, this is really cool. Why was this not put in earlier? Now the caveat is that technically I could have got it a lot earlier, but because the way they do the ability unlocks. Remember how I said that you have to meet these people and do a mission for them, and that unlocks an ability tree.
Yeah,
And then you have to like do specific tasks
right.
for them to unlock specific abilities. So technically speaking, I could have unlocked these specific things. Like, for example, you cannot do like a 180 or a 360 in your ship, which is weird because it's a space game.
Yeah.
You can do it manually. You can drive and fly, backwards, but it takes a while, whereas you can eventually unlock a 180-degree turn, so you literally just flip and go right back.
Yeah.
Or do
Like,
a 360, where you go.
What the U-turn in Star Fox?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that makes space combat so much more interesting.
Yeah. Instead of just endlessly circling the drain around your opponent until... Yeah.
Yeah, or you can do a
Quick
360
turn.
to come back and then loop back behind him. You can do that as well.
Yeah. That's also in Star Fox.
Yep. And barrel roll is actually in there as well that you can unlock, which makes dodging missiles way easier. So, yeah, that's the most specific example that I can give to get that point across, is that those things shouldn't have been an optional unlock. They should have been a mandatory unlock through the story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they're just that dynamically cool.
Yeah.
And important. Unfortunately, those space ones I didn't unlock until 80% through the game.
Ouch.
And then I was like, well, there's not much space left for me to do, because I've pretty much done everything. I mean, you can do like the submissions and stuff like that, which are enjoyable, but they're money grind and reputation grind type stuff. So
yeah, and at that point, you've probably gotten pretty high up on those things anyway already.
Well, kind of. The reputation stuff is really hard to get everyone to the top, because most of the missions you end up screwing someone else over.
Ah, okay.
So one goes up, one goes down. You can achieve a good reputation with everyone, but it takes some fine tuning and selective missions and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got that Splinter Cell double agent thing going on.
Yeah, you gotta make the right choices.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finished it. I beat it. All of what I've said before still stands. It's still a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
It's still got a lack of... I didn't really talk about it last time, but it's got a little bit of a lack of polish. I feel like if the game cooked another 6 months, it would be probably a lot more, a lot better received.
Or maybe that's why they're delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows. Maybe they figured that out.
Definitely. Because there's certain things that, what really sucks, and I can't really comment on it because of the timing of it, is the first of the roadmap patches that they released for Outlaws came out the day after I finished it.
Oh.
And I had already uninstalled it because, unfortunately, there is no post-game content. It's basically just they put you back in the world and say, hey, go after all the stuff you missed.
Yeah.
Nothing else unlocks or opens up or new challenges or anything like that. It's just go back in the world, and that sucks.
I mean, that's okay for some games, because sometimes you're just like, okay, I'm done. I'd like to move on to another game now.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think it works for this one though, because there's so many cool things about the game. Like Sabak is so fun. Why was there not like a tournament option somewhere in the game where you could just go through like a randomized tournament with randomized rewards or something like that? But then I found out why, because that's in the DLC, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go back and play it at some point. Once all these patches are done, and maybe once all the DLC is done, I'll see if I can get the DLC on the cheap in some sort of season pass. But yeah, it's better than it. I put a post on Twitter about it, and I said, for those that think that Star Wars Outlaws is a crap game, I think you need to reevaluate what you consider a crap game,
Yeah.
because it is a good game in a time in the industry where we have great, amazing, and masterpiece level games. That doesn't make it bad.
Yeah.
That just makes it not as good as some of the great titles that are coming out.
Yeah, people really need to recalibrate.
Yeah. Definitely worth playing. I recommend it, but I recommend it with the asterisk next to it that says, don't expect a triple A level masterpiece here. This is just a good game, and it'll probably be better once all these patches and DLC come out to flesh out all the problems. But I do plan on revisiting it because I did have fun with it, and I was sad when it was over because I wanted more content, because I just felt like the gears were just starting to go.
Yeah.
The foundation is there for a great sequel if they do intend on doing that. The game does not set up a sequel per se. Just throwing that out there. So,
I mean, they could just do a spiritual sequel where it's not the same character, but it's the same style of gameplay.
Yeah, and I think that would be the right way to go, honestly, because, as I said last week, the main character is not great. The cast of characters is bland. But the world is so good. The world is so good. And it looks
Star
so
Wars,
nice.
They've got decades of material to draw from. It better be good.
A part of me wonders why they didn't just make it a Han Solo movie or a Han Solo game. They're doing Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe
like a young Han Solo.
Maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe they didn't want to have two, games, quote unquote, starring Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's true.
Zeitgeist at the same time. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, they could have done Lando. They could. I don't know.
There's all sorts of things they could have done.
Yeah, there's so many things they could have done. But yeah, it's a good game. I remain at a 7 out of 10. I give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah. Good, not great, but worth playing.
Yep.
Where did you land on Zelda?
Zelda was pretty good. I was worried that maybe the gimmick might start to wear a little thin, and there are points towards the end where it does, but then the game ends.
So it ends right at the perfect time.
It ends right at the perfect time. It's just good. When you're starting to go, man, this is cool, but I really wish I just had like a sword all the time, and then you're like at the final dungeon. So
that's a good.
Yeah, exactly.
Good length.
Because the best time to end a game is when you're just starting to get tired of it.
That's the peak.
Yeah,
that's
the peak you don't
on the chart.
Don't want to leave them wanting for more, and then like I wish this game had been longer. But you don't want to drag it out so long that people don't finish it. It's the right length, and it's not super long for a Zelda game, but I feel like that's also perhaps skewed a bit perceptually by the fact that the last Zelda game to come out was a 200+ hour epic.
Yeah, for sure.
This is much more in line with the length of a top-down Zelda game.
Did you play the Link's Awakening remake?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
No. Because, like I've said, I don't like the blur on the edge of the screen.
Right. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening is great. I don't blame them for remaking it, because aside from the post-processing choices that they made, that art style looks great. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't that I chose the remake over the original, because I never played the original until the remake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've played like bits and pieces of the intro through like Nintendo Online and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the game's very what's the word I want to go with here? Obtuse? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Link's Awakening is a little bit hard to parse sometimes.
Yeah, like I remember playing the original and being like, where the hell do I go?
Yeah, there is a point in the game, I want to say it's like 2 dungeons in, where you...
Oh, I didn't even get that far.
Oh, okay. Where
Yeah.
you're kind of left wondering, like, I think it's about that point. Maybe 3 dungeons. I don't know. You're kind of left
No, you're
wondering,
right. No, you're right. Because I got to that part in the remake.
yeah, where do I go next? And
Yeah.
it's
Had to wander around a little bit.
yeah, it doesn't quite it doesn't quite signpost you as well because Link's Awakening is a lot more linear than
Yeah,
some of
it
the
is.
other Zelda games.
Well, it was a Game Boy game, so
Yeah, it was a Game Boy game, and it doesn't push you in the direction as much as it should. Whereas if you it's something like Zelda 1, which is, I mean, basically just a 2D open world game, a top-down open world game. You don't even have to do the dungeons in that game in order most of the time. Most of them can be done in any order you want.
yep.
And this game, by the way, is more like that.
Cool.
You can tackle. Well, what happens is you have the rifts, which are the dungeons, and you have to clear. You're clearing groups of rifts. So you have like your first 3 dungeons, and then you clear them, and then the next 3 big dungeons open up, and then you clear them, and then you've got your, like your final dungeon. You've also got like little mini dungeons with small rifts that are only like, 15-minute affairs as well. It's got a good mix of stuff. What I really appreciate about it even more is the verticality of it, because even though it's a top-down Zelda game, you have to go up and down, and not just like north and south, but actually like vertical and like higher and lower a lot, which is something that the top-down Zelda games just haven't really done all that much with. It's interesting and sometimes a little bit aggravating because of the camera angle. There are definitely times where I wished I could have set the camera parallel to the ground and looked into the horizon, which you can't do. You can click in the right stick to get a straight top-down view, which does help sometimes with lining things up. But there are definitely times where I wished I could have looked into the horizon, but it's not like game-breaking stuff.
No. Just like quality of life kind of stuff.
Yeah. I like the final dungeon. Not sure if I want to say what's in the final dungeon, because it's kind of a spoiler, but it was cool. The final boss fight was cool. A little bit long. You have to do the same things over and over again. Like you have to. There's like a pulling thing that you got to do. You got to like pull out vulnerable points. That's not really a spoiler. Lots of bosses and enemies in this game have that. It's a thing you're going to be doing a lot, because you have a power that lets you tether yourself to things and pull. You have to do that like 3 times in a phase, and then you go to another phase and you do a bunch of things several times, and then you go back and you do another phase of pulling things several times within the phase. It goes on. It's a little repetitive, but it's a good boss fight, and all I'm going to say is there is AI in that boss fight that is very, very good and very, very smart, and not at all like, let's say, Resident Evil 5 partner AI. Which was terrible. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about
Terrible's not
that
a good
button.
word for it. Almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Is a better word for it.
Yeah. So I very much appreciated that Nintendo put the effort into that, because otherwise that could have been a really aggravating final boss fight if they hadn't made that so good.
That's good.
Yeah, I liked it. It's fun. It's cute. It's a neat new spin. I could do one of these every few Zelda games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this needs to be a one and done thing. They could leave it at that, but if they want to revisit it, maybe a few Zelda games down the line, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
If you had to rate it on our scale, 1 to 10.
Well, that's tough. That's tough.
Just as a reminder, 7 is good, 8 is great, 9 is amazing, 10 is masterpiece, or best in class.
Yeah, that's tough because
from what you're saying, it sounds like an 8 to me, but I didn't play it. Just the way you're describing it sounds like an 8.
It kind of oscillates. There are some points that are really really good, and you're like, this is a fucking masterpiece. And then there are some places where it's like, guys, come on. Like I posted a picture on Twitter, which is about the only
key.
thing. Yeah, the fucking key under the water. I walked around that dungeon, or at least the places I could get to in that dungeon, like 5 times before giving up and looking it up online. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Where do I get this key that I clearly need? Oh, that silver key that's underneath a layer of water? Ugh, fuck off. It's damn near invisible. And even though the thing sparkles, there's other there's reflections and glittering on the surface of the water. Like,
I had trouble finding it in the picture.
It's the most camouflaged thing in the entire game.
Yep.
Yeah, and at moments like that, really, there aren't too many like that, but when they happen, it's just like, oh, come on.
Well, it's also not the Prime Zelda team that's working on it either. I'm sure it's a B team of some sort.
I believe it's Grezzo, which is the team that did
Link's Awakening.
Yeah, they did the Link's Awakening, but I'm not sure if they built the game, like they're credited in the game. I'm not sure if they designed it. It's definitely their tech because it's their engine from Link's Awakening. I don't know what exactly.
Nintendo needs to be more transparent with their developer stuff.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the division of labor was there, but
Yeah.
I
No, I get it.
It's pretty good. I'd give it like an 8 or a 9.
Cool.
It's hard to call it best in class because there's not really anything else like it, off the top of my head. I mean, I guess Scribblenauts, but that's also not...
No.
Because Scribblenauts, and I love Scribblenauts, but the only thing it has in common is you placing items that you create out of nothing. They're two very different games.
And there really isn't a lot of Zelda-likes, which always baffles me.
Yeah, I've always the same thing. I've always wondered, like, why aren't there more games that just straight up clone this? And one will come out occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally you get one, but it's
like there was one on the Genesis called Crusader of Senti, which is it's okay.
There was Beyond Oasis.
Yeah, but even then, like, Beyond Oasis, it doesn't quite feel.
No,
like
it doesn't.
Zelda.
I mean, it doesn't compare to Zelda, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's top-down games with melee combat. There's tons of them. But I wouldn't call, like, Secret of Evermore or Secret of Mana Zelda-likes.
No, definitely not.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah. Tunic is a Zelda-like.
Yeah, there's two. What was that game? Ocean Horn or Ocean Bound? I think it's Ocean Horn. Which was a game that came out...
Oceanborn?
Ocean Horn.
Yeah, Ocean Horn. Yeah. Yeah, the first one's really good.
Yeah,
it's a mobile game.
Yeah,
came out on other platforms. But
it was also on Switch, which
it's
I
excellent.
thought.
That's where I played it, actually.
I thought was kind of bold,
Yeah.
but I mean, it doesn't happen nearly as often as you would think it would. Like, you look at something like Street Fighter 2, which was cloned to high hell and back.
Same thing with like Metroids. Like, it's an entire genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's
I
weird.
don't know. Maybe people just figure there's no point in going up against Zelda. We will get destroyed.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they don't do the 2D Zelda as often as they used to. I mean, maybe they're going to now. They seem to be alternating between 3D and 2D, but...
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
With all the assets that they've built up from the Link's Awakening remake and from Echoes of Wisdom, I would be shocked if this doesn't become the top-down Zelda style going forward, the way that the Wind Waker art style.
As long as they don't new Super Mario Brothers eyes this type of Zelda game, because I don't want to continue to get the same exact art style for the next 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the look of the new Super Mario Brothers games, but I do also agree they put out way too many of those.
Way too many. Like, I think there's 6, if I'm not mistaken.
They're not new anymore if you've got that many.
Even Wonder looks very similar to the new Super Mario Brothers look, although it is different.
I haven't played Wonder.
Me either. It's on my list.
On my list too. I really should, because I've heard that it's really, really good.
Well, if they discounted their games more often, I would have played them already.
Yeah, I know, right?
Whenever I see a sale for a Nintendo game, it's like $10 off. I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's not good enough. I'm looking for a sale. I'm looking for 40+% 10% off. I need like $90 plus tax Canadian's not something I can do.
When you say it's on sale, 10% off, it's like that's like a fucking coupon,
dude. Yeah, anytime I see a 10% off, I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, to me, it's not a sale unless you're doing like at least 20% off,
especially on Steam.
Yeah,
when these games that are like $20 get a 10% discount. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, what's the point?
Thanks for my $2.
I would rather buy it at its normal full price.
Yeah,
then, because at least then that money is more money is going to the developer.
Yeah,
right.
10%. Fuck
like
yourself.
if it's 50% off and you get a $20 game for $10, I'll be like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
$18, like, no, I'll just buy it at full price. I'll give you my extra $2, guys. I'm not that stingy.
Yeah, it's I agree. It's ridiculous. I see 10% all the time on PlayStation Network, and I'm like,
yeah,
stupid.
Yeah. Now, I have actually been playing something else, but I will save that for later.
Oh,
because it's relevant to the topic of the week.
Oh, okay, cool. One thing I did want to mention about Zelda as well before we move on is it's pretty unprecedented that there are 4 Zelda games for the Switch.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
At most, we get 2 on a single console.
Yeah, that's
in fact most of the time we get 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1 on NES, 1 on Super Nintendo.
There's 2 on NES.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, 2 on NES, 1 on Super Nintendo, 2 on 64. I guess technically there's 2 on GameCube.
If you include the
Twilight Princess.
No, if you include the Zelda collection disc, it's got Ocarina of Time on there, and
and I guess there's Four Swords Adventures.
Yeah, I like Four Swords Adventures actually. I really like that game.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call that a mainline though.
No, it's not. It's definitely a spin-off, but it's fun. I really like it.
And then Wii's
I love how colorful it is. Wii's got its own version of Twilight Princess, and then it's got Skyward Sword.
And then Wii U didn't get one.
Well, I mean, it got Breath of the Wild, but it didn't get anyone that was exclusive.
Right, yeah.
And it also got Twilight Princess HD.
I'm gonna remake that game 1,000 times.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously, you've got Skyward Sword HD on the Switch as well.
I tried to play that, and I was like, man, this sucks.
Does it just not work without the motion controls?
The game was designed around them, so it's really tough to not play with them,
Yeah.
And it was such a gimmick of the time, so I've tried to go back and play it with the motion controls, and I'm just like... It was a great thing at the time. I really enjoyed it at the time, but now I'm just like, I don't want to play like that anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's in VR. If I'm Link in VR, maybe. But we're never going to get that.
Are we going to count Link's crossbow training?
Oh, good lord. That's a spin-off for the ages.
What about Tetra Trackers, that puzzle game that only came out in Japan? It was the first Zelda game with voice acting in it.
It's the only Zelda game with... Oh, no, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, dude. Unless you count the Satellaview game that had actors performing live.
Do they have voice acting in Echoes?
No. Other than the vocalizations of the characters, yeah.
They don't have the annoying speech bubble thing where they're like... They don't have that, do they?
No.
You guys just text.
It's not the Animal Crossing thing.
All right. Or the Simlish.
Yeah.
Or I guess the best way to call it is Banjo-Kazooie. Like, that's just probably... Oh, wow. The nostalgia hit. I just took that in the face. Wow. All right. No letter time this week, so let's get right into the news.
Ooh, before we start with the news, I got a little news.
Yeah?
Happy birthday, Prince of Persia. 35 years.
The original?
The original. Just celebrated its 35th anniversary.
Holy...
Like a few days ago.
Cramoly.
We're old.
We're older than Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Come on.
We're old, man.
It's a classic.
It is a classic, but we're old though.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Prince of Persia. Hopefully that Sands of Remake game comes out at some point.
You want to try that again?
Sands of Remake. Sands of Time.
It's cool. Just hit the dagger, rewind, and do it again. Yeah, there you go.
Sands of Time remake.
There you go.
Sands
Never
of
happened.
remake. I think I'm going to be saying remake a lot in this episode. Spoilers. Yeah. All right, let's get into the news. The first piece of news has nothing to do with games, but I did want to sort of shout it out because I watched the show when I was younger, and it sucks. American Picker star Frank Fritz passed away at the age of 60, reportedly due to the effects of a stroke he had several years ago and Crohn's disease. Did you ever watch American Picker?
Yeah, I was about to ask, what is that show about? What are they picking? I've never seen it.
So they have like a store, I believe, and they also like auction stuff off. So they basically go around going through people's stuff.
They're picking out stuff to try and flip for a profit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so they pay whoever they find it's on their property a fair price, and then they usually mark it up for
try to restore it or try to whatever. And
yeah, sometimes they restore things. That show actually linked with Rick's Restoration. Do you remember that show?
No, but I'm not surprised by that at all. So it's very similar to oh fuck, what was that?
Pawn Stars?
Antique Roadshow.
Yeah,
it's like Pawn Stars crossed with Antique Roadshow.
Yeah, exactly. They travel throughout the country, visiting people and going through their barns full of random stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Antique Roadshow, and it's. I mean, I'm not really an antiques person, but I do find like the history of objects interesting. I do find the appraisal of objects interesting. You get these experts who like, this is a French style table made of, maple from whatever, and it's like, wow, that's actually kind of interesting. All the history that they can tell you about a fucking table. Yeah. Because they're just, they're so interested in that. It's a very specific skill, but it's interesting.
It's very cool.
The history of something that somebody made.
Yeah, that shows like that in Pawn Stars and American Pickers. There's Canadian Pickers as well.
Yeah.
Very good shows. But American Pickers was like the first. It was like the one that started that sort of style of show, I guess.
Yeah.
And Frank was the one of the two pickers on the show.
Yes, that's unfortunate.
Indeed. Great show, though. But yeah, nothing to do with gaming, but I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. What was the other thing here that I wrote down as a separate piece? I think that was it. Okay. So let's get on with the gaming news. Another one that I want to get out of the way as well, because it's negative, but, hopefully everything turns out okay. The Bloodstained Ritual of the Night director is stepping back from work on the sequel after he was diagnosed with cancer. Yeah.
Holy shit! I hadn't heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Koji Igarashi.
Shitaru.
Okay. Holy shit! Though I hadn't heard about that, which is weird because I was a backer on that game, so I follow their Twitter. Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
Yeah, it says the game developer who worked on a long list of entries in Konami's Castlevania series and more recently directed 2019's Bloodstained announced the news on Twitter. Probably on his own Twitter, I think.
Oh, okay.
He says he'll be offloading some of his responsibilities with the rest of the team at Artplay now that he has begun his battle with cancer. He's quoted as saying, this was in Japanese, so it had to be translated. I, Shitaro, also known as Curry Boy and Curry Sage, have been diagnosed with cancer and have begun my battle with the disease. I have already started talking about the sequel to Bloodstained and have ideas for the game and such. From now on, the responsibility for game direction will be shared. Thank you for your support.
Well, I hope
so Bloodstained 2 was announced.
That he needs.
Yeah, it doesn't specify what type of cancer or anything
and
like
we
that.
don't need to know that. No. It's his business.
But hopefully it's treatable and he can kick its ass. Because cancer sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how far in development it is. It was announced back in 2021, so it's been 3 years.
Yeah, it's a game that we've been expecting for a while. But those people, I think they've been shuffled around working on a few different projects. Because those people seem to do a From what I've seen, at least, they seem to do like assistive development work. Where they farm out development of certain aspects of games to other studios. It seems like they do a lot of that. So
for sure,
they've probably had their hands full with other stuff.
I did not know this, but IGN rated Bloodstained as the 4th best Metroidvania of all time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Did not know it was that good. Not including Metroids or Castlevanias. I should clarify.
Oh, really? Then it should be like probably number 1.
Yeah, the games that are above it are Guacamelee 2, which was great. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which was the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest.
Mm-hmm.
And Hollow Knight.
Yeah, okay. Hollow Knight's got more content, but... I mean, I'm biased for Bloodstained because I kickstarted it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I definitely have a stake
more
in
of a
that.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really love Bloodstained. I was so satisfied with that game.
Moving on. I didn't know how important this one was, but some listeners pointed it out to me. This comes from mixednews.com. The latest Windows 11 update makes your Windows VR headset unusable. They have basically canceled Windows Mixed Reality.
Yeah, I saw they were discontinuing development of HoloLens and stuff like that, but they actually just cut it?
Yeah, they just deleted it, basically.
I fucking hate when they do that, when they get rid of functionality.
Yeah, why get rid of it? I don't understand. I understand not supporting it.
You're offering us a less compelling product than you were, a year ago?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Can
we get some of the money we paid for that back, then?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says users who want to continue to use their Windows Mixed Reality device will either have to skip that update or switch to Windows 10. Now, I do think that Windows 10 and Windows 11 give you the ability to skip a particular update. It's not like a giant patch like games get.
So it's like one of those side updates.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can pick and ignore.
Yeah, it's not one of those security things or...
Yeah. So, I mean, I have to imagine that at some point they're going to make it mandatory. So I wouldn't count on it being optional forever, but...
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this affects too many people, but thought it was interesting.
But for the people who it does affect, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on. Thought you'd find this interesting if you didn't already see this, but the Nintendo Museum has added lost prototypes to the museum.
Yes, I saw a great big Twitter thread about that.
So there's a couple of things here that I selected that thought would be pretty cool to point out. There was a prototype for various versions of the Wiimote. Mm-hmm. And they are ugly.
They're terrible.
They're awful.
Yeah.
One was a prototype that was it was literally the D-pad. It was in the shape of the D-pad. So it was like a Wiimote crossed with another Wiimote.
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking on that?
Yeah.
And there was a heart-shaped one.
So just to clarify, Nintendo wasn't allowing photos of that particular exhibit, but photos of those prototypes are already out there.
Yeah.
So I saw a thread of a person who went there, I believe on the opening day, and they were sharing the existing photos of those things that were on display.
Yeah.
So it wasn't their photos, but it was photos of the things they saw. Just old ones.
There's also some people who have drawn mock-ups of what they look like as well.
Yeah, for ones that there aren't photos of. The fucking the Wii U controller prototype. Did you see that one? Where it's the LCD screen and 2 Wii remotes, one on each side. I mean, I get it, but
they're prototypes. I mean, none of this stuff was designed to be released.
It's not supposed to look pretty. It's just supposed to work. But
there was an N64 controller or Ultra 64, I guess, at the time of creating it, where the control stick was metal.
Yeah, and there's one that only has the one prong in the center.
Yeah, it doesn't have the two, which I actually think may have been kind of cool.
No.
No?
No.
I don't know, man.
No,
I don't know.
It's how do you make that thing even less comfortable?
I wonder if they never had. I wonder if that was the original design, and someone was like, "What if we add two more prongs?" And then
Yeah, just so people can like get a grip on both ends or all three ends.
yeah.
Fucking yeah, probably.
And then there was the last one I want to talk about is the prototype Game Boy, which actually looked like a Game Boy Pocket,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. Which they eventually made. So
Yeah.
pretty interesting stuff. Man, I wish I could go there, but yeah, very cool, very cool. All the tickets are sold out for the opening, so
Oh, of course, for the
can't
foreseeable future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the things they had there was, and I'd heard about this from back in the day, it was a prototype design for the DS that was basically two full sets of controls, and they would meet they would be on either side, and then the two screens would meet, so you could orient the DS in different ways, or two people could just grapple one DS for a two-player game. I can see why they didn't do that, but
Oh my goodness!
it was a proof of concept that they had when they were still cooking up the DS back in the day. Which I mean is technically what the Switch is now. Like if you take your Switch, like I'm holding mine right now, and you point it, forward, and you've got, the one Joy-Con at your end and the other Joy-Con at the other end. Now just
Yeah.
imagine that it folds in the middle, and that's what the one of the early designs for the DS was.
Crazy.
Yep.
That's how they stumble upon some of their great stuff, though. So it's all part of the process, right? Next up on the docket, the Baldur's Gate 3 patch 7 is officially out on console.
With even more endings.
Yeah, with I think 13 new evil endings.
Smack as I set my Switch down.
And mod support. So I will be replaying Baldur's Gate 3 soon because I've been waiting for ages for them to be done the game. I think I ran on a rant about that a couple episodes ago. Looks like more than 69 nice mods have already become available on console. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know what kind of mods I'll end up checking out. Mod support's not something that happens on PlayStation, so kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think one of the cooler ones is probably expanding the party limit. I don't know how that would affect the performance of the game. But being able to have more than 4 players would be pretty cool, considering how many characters.
Yeah,
are in that game.
there's a mod on PC that lets you do that.
Yeah, super cool, super cool. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it a little bit of time for the mods to kind of work their way into the console universe, and then I'm gonna jump back in. I'll probably do that. Probably like a holiday break.
Yeah.
Jump back into that. All right, moving on. I'm sure you know about this one. Thought it was interesting. I have a couple of things to say about it. Nintendo has forced development of the Nintendo Switch emulator Ryujinx to cease.
Yes.
I don't have anything really to say about from the article itself. I mean, they've basically said, fucking stop making an emulator for our system that's still out.
Yeah.
And I had a discussion with some of our viewers, listeners.
Two of those are correct.
Yeah. About this, and I was like, I get why people would want an emulator for a current gen console, but I don't understand who would take the risk of making one. Especially on Nintendo. Like, you are a legal beacon. You are a legal lighthouse by doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
well, I actually have some things to say about that. It's more to do with Yuzu, which is the other Switch emulator that was shut down earlier this year. Ryujinx, I'm actually looking at their site right now. They don't seem to... They don't seem to do... Well, let me check here. Yeah, they don't seem to do the thing that that Yuzu was doing. So Yuzu was doing a few things that I think really painted a target on their back. And Ryujinx does some of those things, but not all of them, especially not the big ones. So number one, as you said, an emulator for a system that is current.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing inherently illegal about emulation. This certainly isn't proprietary Nintendo hardware. This is an ARM processor, right? Like Nintendo did not design the processor for this. They didn't even design the variant of the processor for this. Again, this is an NVIDIA chip. We've talked about this before. This is an NVIDIA Tegra X1. And there is absolutely no reason from a legal standpoint to bar the development of emulators, because emulation is a critical part of development. It's obviously a lot easier to deploy stuff on game consoles now in the testing phase, but like back in the day, like if you I mean there were ways of doing it, of connecting a computer to like a Super Nintendo, but having an emulator that you don't even need to connect the system to and just running it there is so much faster for iteration. And a lot of like if you've ever seen the development kits for like like the original Xbox, they're basically PCs already, and you could just run things on like the Xbox side of it. I think that's how it works for the Xbox. Maybe it's the 360 I'm thinking of. Anyway, the point is, having an emulator is not illegal, but clearly people are not using Yuzu and Ryujinx for development, because if they're licensed developers, they'll already have Nintendo supplied development hardware and software.
Yeah.
And if they're homebrew, well, Nintendo obviously doesn't want people running homebrew because there's all sorts of protections against that. So the other one is, of course, playing pirated games. Nintendo isn't really fond of anything that you do with emulators, so even if it's not illegal to do so, they will still want you to not do it. That's going to draw attention. Okay, but why go after Yuzu and Ryujinx? Well, because they're current systems, right? The Switch is still being made. Nintendo doesn't give two fucks about Dolphin, right? Because the GameCube hasn't been supported for years.
Yeah.
It's not even available. Like, you can't get emulated GameCube games officially. They don't
have it on Nintendo Online.
Outside of like Mario Sunshine in that Mario 3D collection that they don't even sell anymore. So
yeah.
Nintendo doesn't care about Dolphin. They're not going to go after Dolphin.
No.
Outside of like maybe a matter of principle, but it's low on their priority list, right? Because it's not something that they don't see it as taking a cut out of their profits.
No.
But here's where it starts to get problematic. So the second thing, and this is something that both Yuzu and Ryujinx did, is they have a compatibility list. Now, a lot of people who make emulators will say, we do not condone piracy. These are for homebrew development and testing. And that's certainly a use case for them. I think they know very well what people are going to do with them. And if you say that it's only for use, for homebrew development, but then you don't include stuff like, memory editor, a debug, and all that stuff, it kind of shoots your argument in the foot. Like when somebody like Martin Korth says, No Cache Game Boy is a homebrew development kit, I take him at his word, because that's a guy who's made a whole bunch of utilities for homebrew development. You can do all sorts of development-related stuff within No Cache Game Boy. So it's not really geared towards people who just want to play games. You can play games with it, but you'd be much better served by a Game Boy emulator that just targets games. I don't think Yuzu and Ryujinx have a lot of development, like, facing capabilities. I don't know, because I've never used either one of them, because I have a Switch. But I mean, it's not the sort of thing that I hear people talking about when they talk about this. Like, where people talk about Mason, which is an NES emulator. That's got fucking development utility all over the place. I've seen people use it in YouTube videos demonstrating how certain tricks in games work, because the emulator actually lets you visualize where the like scan line interrupts and shit are happening for when they do like mid-scan palette changes to get more colors than the system technically allows on screen. You can actually visualize that in the emulator.
Well,
Yuzu and Ryujinx don't, as far as I know, do that, and they have a compatibility list, which basically tells you these are the games that work, the commercial games that work. And you could absolutely try to make the argument they are encouraging you to pirate these games because they're saying these are the ones that work best. But that's not the most egregious thing. The most egregious thing, and this is what Yuzu did, was they were charging money for access to it.
Ooh.
Not access to all of it. You could get old versions, but I believe it was the 5 most recent versions of the emulator were restricted to Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, that's now, that's a big problem.
Ryujinx has a Patreon, but I don't see anything on it. I'm looking at it right now. I don't see anything on it about saying you get early access to new builds of the emulator. It's like, oh, you get a special role in our Discord. You can get a shout out in the special thanks in the about section of the help file or whatever. Yuzu was charging you to get the latest version of the emulator, and that's I'm 100% certain that is what pissed Nintendo off.
Oh yeah, it's I'm reading the sort of excerpts from their suit against Yuzu specifically. It looks like Yuzu was earning over $30,000 a month for providing subscribers with daily updates, early access, and special unreleased features, including Tears of the Kingdom, which released on their platform a week and a half early, and was downloaded a million times before the game was actually released.
Yeah,
to the public. It's kind of a stupid move on their part.
Yeah, like out of principle, I don't like it that Nintendo is threatening emulator developers, but at the same time, at least in the case of Yuzu, I look at that and I go,
kind of fucked up.
You were kind of taunting Nintendo. Like, what did you think was going to happen? That one of the most litigious companies in the world wasn't going to come after you? And I think that emboldened by the takedown of Yuzu, they set their sight on Ryujinx. Like, oh, we might as well get the other one that's out there. And I think that just the time was, them trying to build up a potential case. Because the thing is this is a cease and desist, right? And a standard disclosure applies. I'm not a lawyer. And even if I was, laws are different in different places. But a cease and desist is basically a...
stop it or we're going to sue the shit out of you.
Stop it or we're going to sue you. Like, this is your fair warning.
Yep.
We won't come after you if you stop. And the reason why this is a thing and why this is such an effective scare tactic is because nobody wants this to go to court.
No.
Because while the current standing of emulation is legal, if a judge rules, okay, this particular use of emulation is unlawful and awards, Nintendo the win,
sets a precedent.
That sets precedent. But Nintendo also doesn't want to go to court because if the judge rules against them, it sets a precedent for their next lawsuit and it makes their case weaker. So nobody wants this to go to court. Nobody is interested in actually fighting this battle. So people try to stay off Nintendo's radar and not poke the beast as much as they can. And then when this stuff happens, they usually fold so as not to take it to court. Because even if you do have a pretty strong case, you're not going to be able to afford lawyers like Nintendo's.
No. Tropic Haze, who is the owners of Yuzu, settled with Nintendo after they were sued, paid $2.4 million in damages, and Yuzu was obviously shut down. Ryujinx did not get sued, but basically everything has disappeared. They're gone.
Yeah.
Says on September 31st, I think. Let's see. Is there 30 days in September? No, 30th. September 30th, GDK-chan, which I assume is the owner of Ryujinx, was contacted by Nintendo and offered an agreement to stop working on the project, remove the organization and all related assets he's in control of. While waiting for confirmation on whether he would take this agreement, the organization has been removed, so it's safe to say what the outcome was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's both Switch emulators are gone. I don't know if there's a third one out there. I'm sure there is.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. These are both open source projects, and it's not like they're deleting them from people's computers. So somebody will pick them up once the heat dies down. Someone else not connected to the existing teams will pick up the slack.
Yep.
But yeah, like I'm looking at their blog, and they have these progress report posts. They're using screenshots from commercial games. Like, here's a screenshot from Metroid Prime Remastered. Here's a screenshot.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, like here's a screenshot from fucking Tears of the Kingdom. Here's a screenshot from Super Mario RPG Remake. Like, guys, don't promote them with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like Plex. Plex is a media server. Mm-hmm. But they don't promote it to put all your pirated content on there.
No, even though you absolutely can.
Even though that's absolutely what 99% of people probably use it for. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
You know what would be cool is if Nintendo bought the emulator from them or offered them a job.
Yeah, that's...
I'll tell you this, based on the N64 emulation on the Switch Online... I've heard it's bad. They could definitely use some help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty rough. I haven't played any of it, though, because it's in the expansion set.
Yeah, you gotta pay more money.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Alright, next up. This one really hurts, but I'm sure it's for the best. Frostpunk 2 developer delays The Alters, its next game. Was originally scheduled for by the end of 2024. It's been pushed to first quarter of 2025.
I mean, they just put out Frostpunk, was it earlier this year or last year?
It was last month. Frostpunk 2.
And they were going to release another game by the end of the year?
Yeah, they had 2 games in production.
Well, no
Frostpunk
fucking wonder they delayed it. Yeah, of course it's a good thing.
Well, it's 2 different teams. It's 2 different teams.
Still, don't. First of all, you're going to be competing with yourself. Like, don't.
Well,
don't stack
I
your
don't know
releases
about that. They're not the same game. They're not. They're different. They're different.
Well, but even if they're different games, like somebody's going to go, I just got their game. I need to finish it before I start the next one. Just don't release stuff.
And they don't even have Frostpunk 2 out on consoles yet, which they still haven't announced a release date for, which is really crappy because I really want to play that game. But I really want to play The Alters too. It looks really cool. Have you followed up on that game at all? The Alters?
No.
It's really cool. It's about it's like a it's weird. It's like a cross between the War of Mine mixed with like a 3D. It's a resource management game where you play as this dude who gets trapped on a planet and he has to bring in other versions of himself from other universes where he grew up differently and became different. So like,
this is like that plot from the second season of Invincible. Spoilers for people who I guess haven't seen Invincible.
Yeah, so like you can bring in like a version of you that was a technician or a scientist or a doctor, but it's actually tied to the story though.
You know what else it's like? Fucking Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I haven't seen that yet.
God, it's so good.
Yeah, I've been told it's really, really good. It's on my movie watch list.
Movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sure the delay is good for it. That game looks really, really good. So I hope it turns out well.
Kind of neat. Oh yeah, I see. Oh man, that is some fucking XCOM reboot.
Yeah.
Base building. Yeah.
Yeah. And that cool. Base moves on the planet.
Oh,
it's
the giant wheel.
It's a giant wheel that moves around the planet.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea.
You just got me interested in this game.
Yeah, but between that, the resource management, the being on an alien world, and the creating different versions of yourself, and you actually have conversations with yourself and learn about yourself.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
love
well,
the idea of
the
that.
image here in the at the end of the trailer on the Steam page is a bunch of different versions of the same guy,
Yep.
all crowded together. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that looks cool. There's a demo. Oh, it was 10th to the 17th of June. Damn
Yeah,
it.
probably Steam Demo Fest or whatever they called it. Yeah.
Ah,
I
is it
wouldn't
not?
have been able to run it, otherwise I would have played it.
Is it not available anymore?
Probably
It
not.
doesn't. It doesn't look like it's available anymore. Damn it.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, that looks
Yeah.
cool.
Keep your eye on that one though. I've been watching
Yes.
that one for a while. It's
Definitely.
really cool. All right. Moving on.
I love learning about new games,
Hey,
especially
I'm
ones
your,
that look neat.
I'm your man for that.
Yeah.
I keep my eye on everything that I can. Lords of the Fallen 2 has been confirmed in full development. I don't have much to say about it, but
confirmed in full development for a long time.
Lords of the Fallen 2? Lords of the Fallen just came out like 6 months ago. Unless
What
you're
am I
thinking
thinking
of
of then?
You're probably thinking of the original Lord of the Fallen.
Oh my god.
So there
gotta
was
stop
Lord
doing
of the
this.
Fallen.
They gotta stop doing this shit. This is like when they made
Yeah,
a
I
million
know.
Final Destination movies and then called one of them The Final Destination.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's got
I
a
don't know
the
why they did.
on the title now. Fucking, I hate that shit so much.
Yeah, I have no idea why they named it this way, but yeah, the first game is Lord of the Fallen, and then the second
Okay.
game is Lords of the Fallen, and now they're making
Okay.
Lords of the Fallen 2. Even though it's the third game
they,
in the
they
series.
couldn't call it Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah. Well, I think
I
what
stole that joke from AVGN.
I
They
think
couldn't call it Aliens.
Alien.
So Alien 3 makes some more sense.
I think it was a
old
reboot,
video.
not a sequel.
Oh, okay.
So, because I don't think the first game really hit hard, so they really wanted to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe the reason for it. But yeah, I tried it. It's too hard, just like every other Souls like that I play. So I fell off of it very quickly. I think
Okay.
it's on Game Pass, so I played it a little bit and was like, nope, not for me. All right, moving on. I'm not sure how big of an Avatar fan you are, but they have
The James Cameron movie or the Nickelodeon show?
the Nickelodeon show.
Oh, I'm a bigger fan of that than the James Cameron movie. Yeah,
You
I
are.
heard they're making a new game.
Saber Interactive and Paramount Game Studios is confirmed a AAA RPG set in the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe.
They should fucking get Platinum to do that because they made a Legend of Korra game.
Yeah, but it wasn't very great, was it?
It was like a B project for them, I think.
Yeah. This is the first AAA Avatar game. Not to be confused with Avatar from James Cameron.
Not to also be confused with Avatar
Avatar.
because it's AAA Avatar game.
Avatar.
Avatar.
I see what you did there.
Ah.
Yeah, I've never seen the show. I'm not tied to it.
I
so.
love the show. It's really good. I wish we had something like that when we were kids.
Yeah, I think it came out in what 2000.
I think it was a little bit after that. It was like
A little bit after that.
2000. I want to say like 2004, 5-ish.
Yeah.
It was really, really good show.
I watched like the first couple episodes of it, and it was pretty good. But it's one of those things where if you weren't there, you're probably not going to get it. Moving on. The World of Warcraft has had a new expansion pack, The War Within, which is doing very well for them.
World of War Within Craft.
Yeah.
When are we
Apparently,
gonna
it
get...
is the best expansion in WoW history to a lot of people, at least since Wrath of the Lich King.
Wrath
so,
of the Lich King. Yeah. Does it have Ozzy Osbourne in a commercial again?
remember all those commercials? Those are great.
Those are great.
Man, that
Those
was
were
when it was peak
fantastic.
WoW.
Yeah.
You know. However, not everything is sunshine and rainbows
Of
in
course
World of
not. It's
Warcraft
Blizzard. It
land.
can't possibly be.
No. Yes, it is. The latest expansion has seemingly wiped some guilds' guild bank inventories,
Oh!
and players are furious with the response that Blizzard has given. So this is a little bit of a lengthy one. I'm going to read this out, but yeah,
can't
pretty
do that.
crazy. No. So issues began on August 13th, so this was a while ago, with patch 11.0.2, which dropped a number of updates to the game ahead of the release of the latest expansion, The War Within. In the following days, players began flocking to the official community forums, Reddit, and other community spaces to report a strange and upsetting issue. tons of items seemed to be missing from their guild banks. While initially some players suspected thieving guild members or some sort of visual bug, as more reports come in, the reality became increasingly clear. Without warning, hundreds of guilds have seen massive amounts of items sitting inside their banks, wiped out from the patch with seemingly no rhyme or reason. Not every guild was impacted, nor did every impacted guild lose every single item, but many reported half, 2/3, or even the entire contents of their banks missing.
Jesus Christ.
Individuals who used guild banks as personal storage reported losing the accumulated riches of several years of playing World of Warcraft. For some guilds, the extent of the damage was difficult to track at all. According to player reports, the in-game logs of guild bank withdrawals and deposits did not reflect the massive amounts of items being taken out.
Of course not.
Leaving those who were less active stewards of their guild banks struggling to remember what had been there in the first place. As reports flooded in over several weeks, players became increasingly frustrated by Blizzard's lack of response. Informal player surveys found that it was impacting hundreds of players and guilds, with likely far more going unreported, so it seemed unusual for the developer to remain silent for so long on what seemed to be such a massive problem. Mm-hmm. Finally, after over a month, Blizzard issued a response explaining what had occurred. Quote, "A technical update that was made to support cross-realm guilds encountered an unexpected bug that caused one of our maintenance processes to make some items disappear." Blizzard claims
like
this...
some kind of clash in the inventory records or something, probably.
Yeah.
Across different servers.
Blizzard claims this mainly impacted items related to profession materials from prior expansions, but acknowledged other items had disappeared as well. In response, Blizzard said that it had been packing up the missing items that were able to... Man, let me restart that. Quote, "Packing up the missing items that we are able to identify as lost by this process, and we will soon mail those to the guild leader character for each affected guild." But there was a catch. "Due to how some of the data was lost, we've reached a point where the result will be an incomplete restoration for some guilds, and we do not have a way to restore the remaining missing items for them." No. The developer apologized for both the incomplete restoration and the long wait.
How can you not have a log of that? I mean, I realize that those inventories are going to be changing constantly, but like,
it must be somewhere, you'd think. You know,
like you gotta at least create like a weekly backup or something. I mean, they do maintenance every Tuesday, right? How about you fucking keep track of what was there on Monday?
Yeah. Well, it gets worse.
Oh, how could it be? Oh, Jesus.
While on its face this seemed to be a positive resolution to a frustrating situation, relief quickly turned to anger as players realized how incomplete the incomplete restoration would end up being. In the weeks since, players have been sharing the results of the incomplete restoration of their guild banks, and it doesn't look good. Some guild leaders are showing off before and after screenshots of their bank, claiming to still be missing hundreds of items worth thousands of in-game gold. Some are reporting restorations.
More than that.
Oh, probably. Some are reporting restorations that are insulting or even humorous, such as one person claiming they received a single piece of silk, or another who only got a bunch of Halloween-themed items back. Some are sharing stories of collections they spent years building completely being wiped out with nothing restored. One player claims their friend, a 72-year-old woman, props to that 72-year-old woman who plays WoW, lost an entire guild bank's worth of pets, toys, mounts, and other items she was giving out as gifts to new players.
Oh.
Right. Others have noted that since Blizzard's item restoration is sending items to guild leaders via in-game mail, any guild whose leader is inactive won't see any of its items back. Still, others are bringing up the fact that since the introduction of the WoW token, which I think is an in-game currency that lets you, I think it lets you convert it to game time. If I remember correctly, yeah, you can convert. Yeah, so it's an in-game currency that you can convert into monthly subscription services. So let me start that over now that you know what a WoW token is. So still, others are bringing up the fact that since the introduction of the WoW token, in-game items essentially have an equivalent value in real-world money. Would you accept your bank to whoopsie your savings account, replace it with a fraction of what it had, and have the end all be called an incomplete restoration?
God, yeah.
There are some players who are actually coming to the defense of Blizzard, Several commenters have pointed out the sheer scale of what went missing makes it very likely that Blizzard is telling the truth about its own ability to restore missing items, and there's really no good way to determine.
Maybe they should have fucking. Considering the sheer size of the company, maybe they should have had somebody assigned to backup duty.
Yeah, considering you just got bought out for billions of dollars,
yeah,
I think you could have done that. But even players who acknowledge Blizzard's in an impossible spot are still frustrated by the loss of sometimes years' worth of progress, savings, and work, and concerned that further mass item deletions may happen in the future. It's an unfortunate black mark on what has otherwise been a very well-received expansion.
What site is this from?
IGN.
IGN, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. IGN reached out to Blizzard for more information as to how this happened or if the company plans to take any further actions to restore lost items.
Yeah.
But Blizzard declined to comment.
Yeah, I bet they did.
Yeah, not good. Like, the least that you could do is, like, give everyone a free month of service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely the least you could do.
Like, just give everyone a free month.
I guess the least you could do is nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they've basically done nothing. You know, like, you've made an attempt to restore it, and you can't. And you're basically just saying sorry, and that's it. Like, yeah, I think you owe your players.
Well, look,
something.
Just off the top of my head, here's what I would do if I was in Blizzard's situation and didn't have, like, proper records of that stuff. What I would do is I would give people a shit ton of credit and then open up an in-game store.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Spend that credit on items from events and such.
Yeah.
In order to buy back some of what you lost. Because you'll know what's important to you.
That's true.
You know, you'll be like, oh man, that Christmas set from 2014 that hasn't been available for a decade. I'd really like those back to decorate my... I don't know, does Warcraft have in-game housing or something like that? I don't know. But, you know, whatever the cosmetic, vanity, you know, limited time stuff is... They should issue people a shit ton of credits to just buy them back from a special store. And don't worry about whether or not you're giving them the appropriate amount of credits or you're giving too many to people who didn't have that much. Fucking give it to everybody. Just fucking give it to everybody. Because you don't have the time or apparently the ability to figure out who lost exactly what. So just assume that everybody lost something and give everybody some kind of credit to redeem for the lost stuff credit, that they liked the most. Yeah.
It doesn't solve the problem for the guilds with an inactive leader, though. That's the only
No, but that's the thing. It should be just given to every single player.
Every single player.
To guilds. Every single player who was in a guild. You know, if you're in a guild, if you ever had anything in guild storage, guess what? You just got 1,000 Blizzard bucks to buy back your...
Blizzard bucks.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. Yeah, like...
It's funny.
It's not going to be a perfect solution, but it's going to be a hell of a lot better than what they're doing right now. And I came up with that in like 5 minutes
of
listening to this. So
yeah, we'll see if they
should work for Blizzard.
Yeah, we'll see if they end up doing.
I cost a lot less than fucking however many $1 billion they were bought for. Hire me, Microsoft.
Yeah, well, how much were they bought for?
I don't know.
It was a shitload.
I heard it was 44, but then that number seems to have kept on going up. It was up to like something 60-something billion dollars by the end of it.
68.7. Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
It's a massive amount of money. It's ridiculous.
Not worth it. Not worth it.
No. It'll be worth it in the very long run if Xbox survives.
I mean, with inflation, with the reputation that Activision Blizzard currently has, I don't know how you make that money back. Let me put it this way. I don't understand how anybody who is old enough to be in a position where they can ink that deal will see that money made back in their lifetimes. Specifically on Activision Blizzard properties.
I mean, WoW alone makes like $20 a month times, I think they're at like 6 million.
Yeah, but not all of that money can go to Microsoft to fill their coffers back. People got to get paid. You know, a lot of that is spent on payroll and server maintenance and all
still
that stuff.
Still $120 million a month.
And all the stupid fucking bonuses that they give all their executives.
Moving on.
Yeah.
This one pissed me off significantly. And I'm right there with all the people. So
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about last week how Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a remaster.
Yeah.
Well, for as good as it looks, they done fucked up pretty bad for the PC side of things.
Uh-oh, what did they do?
So they have delisted Zero Dawn from PC.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be relaunching it as the remaster when the remaster comes out. However, it will have the PSN requirement.
Oh, fuck off.
So you can no longer buy the non-PSN required version of the game.
Fuck off.
Is that not just the most stupid thing you've ever heard?
I say that as somebody who has a PSN account, so it would be zero effort for me to link it. Like,
it's a single-player game.
It's a single-player game.
And it's already out.
It's
you
already
fucking
out.
idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously people are pissed off. And I'm sure that game is going to get review bombed to hell.
I
Good job,
wish you
Sony.
could review bomb a company or an executive or whoever the fuck is making those decisions instead of the game. Because I'm sure that Guerrilla Games, didn't want to do it because they didn't do it for the original release. So
Yeah.
I doubt it's their idea. You got to put a review bomb on Sony Computer Entertainment executives or some shit.
Well, Herman Holst was the CEO of Guerrilla Games, and now he's the CEO of PlayStation. So
it might be him.
so you're kind of half wrong on that.
Oh no.
Yeah. A correction from last week as well. I said that they didn't fix the Goblin child Aloy in the remaster. I think they did.
Okay.
It's not like they completely redid it, but they definitely edited it. You can tell.
Okay.
It still doesn't look perfect, but it definitely looks improved.
Do you have like a link you can drop in the chat handy, or I just have to find it myself?
Yeah, I have. Well, I don't know if this will link to it or not.
If it's not fast and easy, then don't worry about it.
I have the link. I just don't know whether it will.
Yeah, let me take a look here.
There's a screenshots section.
Yeah,
it's the second picture in the screenshot.
It's a weird expression she's making.
Yeah, it was taken during the trailer, so
it's in the middle. It's in the middle of a blink.
Yeah,
but that is what a person, including a child, looks like when you take a picture of them mid blink. So
exactly.
Yeah, all right.
It's improved.
And like, her nose is like a different shape. Her face is a different shape. It's like yeah. That looks more like a child to me than the original version did.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
The hair looks great too.
Yeah, well the hair always looks good now.
Yeah. So,
I don't know why she looks like she's got like her makeup done. Like her eyebrows specifically.
Yeah,
they look way too clean for a person who's living so primitively, but whatever.
Yeah, no. Gotta look pretty. All right, we're getting towards the end here. We got a couple more. Microsoft has announced the first lineup of Game Pass games in October. They are as follows. Coming to console, MLB The Show 24, which I thought was out already, but maybe it was 23 is out. Open Roads.
Running out of time to put out 2024.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen anything about 25, though. I wonder if they're skipping a year. I could be wrong. I just don't pay attention to MLB.
Yeah.
Open Roads coming to console as well. Sorry. Okay, this is the caveat here. Okay, so MLB The Show 24 and Open Roads are already on Game Pass, but they're on Game Pass Ultimate. Remember how they made those tier changes?
Yeah, we talked about that. Like I think on the first episode that I was on.
Yeah. So these are updates for those games are coming to the standard console Game Pass.
Okay.
That's why I recognize them. Okay. However, some new ones. Sifu coming to cloud, console, and PC. All versions of Game Pass. Mad Streets. I don't know what that is. Maybe is that like a?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it off the top of my
Mad
head.
Streets. I have no idea what Mad Streets is. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it looks like it might be.
Is it like
brawler.
a Streets of Rage clone?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because
Oh.
it
Oh.
sounds like what you'd call a Streets of Rage clone.
Oh, no. It's like, it looks like a Power Stone clone.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't have been that great, though. I've never heard of it. But it's free, so I'll check it out and report back. Comes out on the 7th. Only a couple days.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at a video of it. Why?
It's kinda
Why
cool
is the
art
dude? Why is the dude humping the cactus? That's a thing you don't want to hump.
That seems bad. Good lord.
Yeah, I suspect this game is not entirely serious in its tone.
No, definitely not. Looks quirky for sure. And then finally, also coming to all versions of Game Pass, Inscription
With a Y.
with a Y, one of the best card. I don't want to say one of the best single-player card video games of all time. You haven't played that yet. You definitely need to. You will love the shit out of that game. But do not look up anything about it. To anyone who is listening, if you haven't played Inscription and you like card-based games like Monster Train, Slay the Spire...
You want me to play a card-based game without looking up how it works ahead of time? Oh,
yes.
God.
Do not look anything up about this game. Nothing. Even when you're playing it, you need to not look up anything. This is a game that you need to go in blind because it is just that good.
I'm really bad at remembering rules for that kind of stuff, so...
There's also see, I don't want to say anything.
Yeah. Well,
it's not what you think it is. I'll put it to you that way. It's not what you think it is.
Okay.
It's just that good. All right, moving on. All right. Ubisoft is in the news again. Ubisoft's founding Guillemot family and Tencent reportedly considering taking the company private. Amongst the share price collapse, which we talked about at great length on last week's show. Nothing really to say about this other than I hope it's not true, because the idea of Ubisoft going private is a good idea, because then you don't have to listen to shareholders.
Yeah, I would love to get shareholders out of the equation, but I'm not
Tencent,
sure. I'm not sure that I trust Yves Guillemot, because he's been at the head of all of this the whole time, and it's not like you can blame Ubisoft going to shit on a new CEO or a new president or whatever. He's been there the whole time, so maybe...
it's definitely the fact that they went public, and there's so many cooks in the kitchen. There's so many people saying what they need to do, and there's not one person making the decisions that need to be made. I'm sure that Yves would make better decisions if he didn't have to report to all of these shareholders. Hope. Yeah. Because Ubisoft used to be great. And they're not doing so well. For context, Yves Guillemot holds 20% of Ubisoft. Tencent owns 9%. At the time that this news broke, the shares of Ubisoft rose 26%, which is pretty significant.
We might go private. Ooh, that makes it more interesting to buy.
So we'll see what happens there. I had a list here that I wanted to quickly go through, sort of a look at Ubisoft currently, in terms of its games. So in 2024, they released the following games so far. They're pretty much done. But Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, which was fantastic, by the way. Have you played it?
No.
Highly recommend it. One of the great Metroidvanias of the last several years. It's really good.
Well, if I got it, is it on Switch?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Maybe. Because if I were to get it on PC, I'd have to have their fucking bullshit launcher.
Ubi Connect or whatever. Yeah. Is it Ubi or Ubi? I've never known.
No fucking idea. They're French, so it could be anything.
Who knows? I should know because I've seen them at the E3 like 1,000 times.
Yeah. I think both pronunciations are fine because it's short for ubiquitous software.
Oh, well, there you go. So technically it should be Ubi.
Yeah, I guess.
Ubiquitous. Ubi. Yeah, Ubi. Ubiquitous. Anyway, yeah, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, Skull and Bones, 4 mobile games, X Defiant, Rogue Prince of Persia, which I really want to try that, but it's in early access, so. Battle Core Arena.
Yeah. The shrug shoulders, head shake. My reaction exactly.
Most generic ass name I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a fucking 3DO ass sounding game name if I've ever heard one.
Battle Core Arena, like brutal. Oh, I wonder if it's a VR game. That sounds like a VR title.
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil Anniversary Edition. Star Wars Outlaws. Monopoly 2024.
Oh.
And Just Dance 2025 and Just Dance VR comes out.
We're going to get to a point where the Just Dance games, we're going to be asking, is that the year or is that the number in the series?
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's their 2024 slot. So really they only had one hit all year. Skull and Bones did okay. X Defiant's not doing great. Rogue Prince of Persia is not doing great. Battlecore Arena, I'm sure, is not doing great. Beyond Good and Evil Anniversary, I'm sure, is not doing well. Star Wars Outlaws is obviously floundering.
That would match its sales when the original game came out.
Yeah, I don't know why they bothered with that. The only thing I can think of is that they put it out to see how much interest was still available for the sequel.
Nobody wants it anymore.
No,
nobody wants
dead.
it anymore. Not from the Ubisoft that currently exists.
No, definitely not. Star Wars Outlaws floundered, as we noted last week. And then Monopoly probably is
floundered. I mean, people were. I saw people on Twitter going, "Oh, it took them a whole month to sell 1 million units." Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a decent seller, but it's not the AAA selling craziness that they wanted out of it.
It's only low if you judge it by the standards of like a Star Wars game, which I mean it is. So it's not unreasonable, but still, like
I'm hoping more people will play it as it gets a price drop and as all these patches come out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we'll see, because it's a good game. Give it a try, people. What's wrong with you? Monopoly, I'm assuming, sells decently for them from a family game standpoint, but I'm sure it's not a billion seller. And Just Dance will probably do decently. But not really a great year for them overall.
You know what? I wonder, how do they price a game like Monopoly more than just buying a Monopoly board?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the Monopoly games are like $20 to $30 Canadian.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty sure. I think I own one of them.
If it costs you more to buy a digital version of Monopoly than a physical copy, I mean, yeah, you do get to play with people online, but like,
I don't know what constitutes the need for an updated version of Monopoly digital. Like,
yeah, well, there's like a 360 version of it. Is it backwards compatible or forwards compatible?
I mean, if you have one per generation, I'm fine with that. But I'm pretty sure there's already a PS5 Monopoly. I could be wrong, but their 2025 is looking pretty empty. They've got Assassin's Creed Shadows. Mm-hmm. They've got Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. I mean, I know what Heroes of Might and Magic is, but I'm not sure if that's like an expansion pack or
I don't know all that much about Might and Magic.
No. Anno 117. I wonder how many people actually buy Anno. They must do decently because they keep making more.
People who are really into those type of games tend to be really into those type of games.
Yeah, sure I just feel like there's better city simulators than Anno.
Maybe.
But, they've also got AC Jade, Assassin's Creed Jade in development, which is the mobile Assassin's Creed. And then 2 more mobile games. That's all that's been announced for next year. And then a big question mark for a lot of their properties. Sands of Time remake, I think it's 2026, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
Assassin's Creed Hex is the next game after Shadows. Assassin's Creed Invictus is their multiplayer Assassin's Creed project, which we haven't seen yet.
Exclusively multiplayer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's supposed to be like a co-op, like heist.
Oh, is
game.
Is it like Unity?
No, I don't. Well, maybe that's their blueprint for the idea.
Okay.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, whatever state that's in.
Yeah.
Division 3 we know is coming.
They're still doing The Division, huh?
Mm-hmm. Splinter Cell remake, and something called Project U, which is a first-person shooter. So, I assume also Far Cry 7 is somewhere in development.
Probably.
Although Far Cry 6 didn't do very well for them comparatively.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have kept releasing those games year after year and just making them the same thing every time.
Yeah, 5 was fan-freaking-tastic. 6, I played for a couple hours, and I was like, this game's not good.
I don't know which one is which. Is that the one in the mountains? Is that the one with the cult? Like, which one is that?
So 3 is the one in, like, the islands.
Yeah,
that was the one that kind of started.
3 is the last one I played.
Yeah.
Well, that and Blood Dragon.
4 was the Himalayas one with Troy Baker as the villain. 5 is the one in America. Okay. The sort of like the cult that takes over the town in America. And then there was also New Dawn.
Yeah.
Which was the sequel to 5.
Far Cry 5 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Final Fantasy can do it, anybody can.
Yeah. There was also Far Cry Primal.
Yeah.
Which was the caveman one.
Yeah.
And then there's Far Cry 6, which is the one with shit, what's his name? I'll have to look up his damn name. I know his face. Oh, what is his damn name?
But where is Far Cry 6 set? Like, what's the bio?
Mexico?
Okay.
I want to say. Where's the damn wiki for? There it is. Okay. Oh no, it's the fictional Caribbean island of Yara. But it's like, the dictator in the game portrayed by Giancarlo Esposito. Is El Presidente. So maybe it's more Cuba.
Yeah.
Kind of inspired.
He also showed up in one of the Payday 2 expansions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they did that thing where he says the name of the game. Where he I forget exactly what the context is, but he ends it by saying, "I need to get my Payday 2."
Of course.
And it's very clearly like a wink and a nod to the audience. But it was like, I
heard Payday 3 really bombed.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have the traction that the first two did.
I think it had a rough launch. Some sort of problem happened on launch. All right. Last piece of news is not technically news, but it is October, which means it's time to list the games coming out this month, which we started as a new thing that we're doing last month. So, games of October. Now, disclaimer, this is being recorded on October 4th, so some of these release dates may be delayed by the time you hear this. And there's also,
I hope not. You didn't delay that close to launch?
You never know. Well, The Alters was supposed to come out this month, I think. Oh no, it was fourth quarter 2024. So no. Some of these games are also already out. Keep that in mind as well, and also keep in mind this is not every game coming out in October, because if I did that, we would be here until Christmas. Mm-hmm. These are just
and then you'd have notable to do those games. Lists as well.
Yeah. So these are the notable releases of October 2024. Kicking things off, October 1st, Throne and Liberty came out. This is like a new MMO. Launched for Windows, PlayStation 5, and Xbox.
I'm guessing it's like a American Revolution thing based on the title.
I don't think so. I think it's like almost like a fantasy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the perfect name for an American Revolution game, though.
Yeah, no, it's medieval swords and.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It looks actually pretty good. I'm keeping my eye on it. I don't know if it's free to play though. I'll have to check that out. Released on October 3rd was a game I've been waiting for, Parcel Core, on Windows, PS5, and Xbox. This was the game we keep talking about like every week. The Paperboy meets Jet Set Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one that was supposed to come out last month and then disappeared, and now it's out. It got shadow dropped yesterday. So it's out as of this recording. Today, the Until Dawn remake is out.
Which I've heard some not so great things about.
I didn't even see a review for it yet, actually. Now that
I've heard there's some like performance / frame rate stuff with it.
Oh, really? Come on. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to play it anyway, but...
Oh, yeah, you've got the original.
Oh, breaking news. Not super important, but kind of cool. Excuse me. Man, it's one of those days.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Infinite is getting a patch that adds third-person mode.
Okay.
That's fucking random as shit.
To go back to what Halo was going to be originally, well, not originally.
That's weird. Why would they develop a third-person mode and not a co-op mode?
Isn't co-op already out?
No, they never. I think online co-op is, but they scrapped split-screen co-op.
Oh,
which is ridiculous.
Okay.
That's like it's like one of the staples of Halo.
Yeah,
say split screen. But anyway, yeah, Until Dawn remake. So I wasn't gonna play it, but maybe that's one of those games that they'll release on PlayStation Plus at some point, and I can check it out when it does.
Yeah.
Coming on October 8th, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. It's getting great reviews. But my stance remains unchanged. You said it was going to be free. You changed your mind, now you're charging for it, so fuck off, Blizzard. Mm-hmm. Just fuck off.
I prefer not to reflect on what they've done to my beloved Diablo.
Yeah, I know. Also coming out on the 8th is the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is getting kind of great reviews as well.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I hope it's good.
Yeah, it's getting
there are a lot
mostly
of people
like
out there who seemed like they were hoping for it to be bad. Like,
I was not hoping for it to be bad. I was just saying it looked bad.
I was expecting it to not be good. I wasn't hoping that it would be bad.
Yeah, no, I would never hope for something to fail.
There were a lot of people out there who were hoping that it would be bad.
Oh yeah. That's
but
stupid.
I think most people expected that it wasn't going to live up to the original version. But so far the reviews are pretty good, so maybe.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
Maybe.
I'm hoping they do a demo so I can try it out.
Yeah.
Another one that might come out on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus as well. So
I gotta remind you the original at some point, so you have a frame of reference.
Yeah, I've never played any Silent Hill game. Actually, that's not true. We talked about this. I played that short message.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say if you say Homecoming, I'm walking over there right now with my PS2.
Yeah, no, I've been told that game sucks. Yeah. Coming out on October 11th, a bunch of games. First off is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero for Windows.
I hear a lot about that. It's got like
PS5
over
and Xbox.
100 playable characters.
184 characters to play. It's fucking nuts.
Fuck. There's almost as many episodes of Dragon Ball Z as there are characters. No, there's almost as many characters as there are episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
It's freaking.
That's actually not true. That's only like half the number of episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, there's like 7,000 episodes of Dragon Ball.
but yeah, that's a lot. It's like literally any character who's ever thrown a punch in the
50% of them or more must have the same exact control scheme.
God, they got it.
There's so many clones in there. It's got to be.
Those poor developers.
Yeah. Also coming out on the 11th is Europa for Switch and PC. I played the demo for that one. It was kind of cute. Kind of a cool, almost, dare I say, Quest 64 art style. Like if that was modernized.
Oh,
like
okay. I was gonna say.
Not specifically Quest 64, but like if you took that and remade it visually. Not doesn't play like Quest 64.
Which, if you recall, audience, was one of my games that they should remake and make good. Was Quest 64.
Well, maybe you can relive some of that in Europa.
Or live what should have been in the first place.
No, it's not like a magic game. I think it's like a walking simulator, third-person walking simulator type of game. I don't really know. It's really hard to distinguish what kind of game it is. Also, on the 11th is Metaphor ReFantasio for Windows, PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series. Strangely, no Xbox One version of that game. Very odd.
I mean, it's a Japanese game, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's coming out on Xbox Series.
Yeah, but they probably don't figure it's worth making an Xbox One version. I mean, considering how well the Xbox does not do in Japan.
It's true. Yeah. Oh, I did play the demo for it, and it is not a Trevor game.
Oh, yeah?
Definitely not a Trevor game. It's also not a turn-based RPG. It's a action RPG. Didn't know that. you know, being from the creators of Persona, I was expecting it to be a turn-based.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I have the hiccups or like just some gas, and it's pissing me off. It's throwing me off my game. Don't like it. Also coming out on the 11th is Starship Troopers Extermination for Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series. This is the again, I don't want to call it a Helldivers like, you know, but it's the first-person Helldivers like, but with up to 16 players. They also announced a VR Starship Troopers game, Coalition or something like that. Can't remember the name of it. Hopefully that does well. Can keep my eye on that one. Also on the 11th, Undisputed, the boxing game for Windows, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. October 15th, Neva, which is the spiritual sequel to Grease. Gris? Gree.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
I remember you teaching me about that.
It took you a few tries, but you got there.
Yeah. For Windows, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series. Also on the 15th is, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Nico Dorico? Nico Dorico? I'm not sure how you say it. It's the mascot platformer for Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series. Looks pretty cool.
I know nothing about it, but I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I think is he a kangaroo? No, Nico Dorico.
Maybe he's one of those obscure mammals, like a genet or something.
I guess he kind of looks like a tiger or a lion. I don't know. It looks cool. It's kind of like it looks like a mix between like Crash Bandicoot and like, I don't know, something else. I can't put my finger on it, but it's clearly inspired by classic mascot platforms.
Yeah.
October 17th, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead comes to Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series. That's the first-person horror game based on the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Party Jamboree comes to the Switch.
Hold on a second. Go back. Isn't that the movie with Sandra Bullock blindfolded?
No, that's Birdcage or whatever. Bird Box. No. Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
No. Quiet Place?
Hold on. What is...
No, it's Emily Blunt is in A Quiet Place.
What was that?
I think Bird Box is what you're thinking of. Yeah, you're thinking of Bird Box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know why I probably had it mixed up? Because she won an Oscar for a movie called The Blind Side. I probably, in my head, got that mixed up.
Yeah. No, Bird Box was actually pretty cool. It's basically, I can see how you confuse the two, though. It's very similar to A Quiet Place. One's hearing, one's seeing. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you make a video game out of a game where you're blindfolded? Well, you know, there was a game where you play a blind woman.
Yes.
And
I was about to bring it up.
You used echolocation. I don't remember what it was called, but you have your cane and you, like, tap it against the floor and you see, like, the reverberations on the screen sort of...
The veil.
Quote-unquote, illuminate the shapes.
Oh, no, this was... I don't know what that one is. I was thinking of The Veil. Which is... There's no visual to The Veil at all.
Let me see real quick if I can find it, because I...
was it on PC or Xbox? Or?
I don't remember. I just remember the game. The Super Best Friends played it years ago. I'm just seeing if I can... figure out what it was. I'm just going through, like, YouTube thumbnails. Oh, God. I don't think I can find it in a timely fashion.
I'm looking too. I don't know what it would have been. Oh, Blind?
It couldn't.
Oh no, it's a VR game.
It couldn't have just been called Blind. What the fuck was that game called? And why can't I remember it? Because it was such a. It was apparently not a very good game, but it was a cool concept.
Oh no, I think it is Blind. It's got mixed reviews, but it's monochromatic. Like in black and white?
Kind of. The problem is, with a name like that, it's really hard
Perception?
Perception, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. It's Perception.
Yeah, let me...
It's a first-person horror game where you've seen...
Yes, Perception. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it like echolocates, and it's like a bluish on black kind of thing. And
Yep.
it's the sound. You see the sound waves reverberate off things, and that's how you navigate in the game.
Yeah, it looked kind of cool.
Yeah. Apparently not great, but very cool idea.
Very cool. Yeah, no, the Veil is a game. I think it's on. I think it's on Game Pass, but it is entirely audio only, and it's recommended you play it with headphones. And
So it's an audio game instead of a video game.
Well, kind of. You do play in a 3D space, and you have to move around based on
But
what you hear.
if there's no video, it can't be a video game, can it?
That's true. That's a good point. That's fair. That's a fair point. Yeah, there's no video. No visual to it except for the main menu, which
Well, yeah.
has the logo and all that shit. But yeah, yeah. I don't know how we got on this tangent, but
Yeah.
A Quiet Place, the road ahead. But yeah, Super Mario Party Jamboree comes to Nintendo Switch on October 17th
Never
as
again.
well.
Never again.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I understand that series continues because new generations of players continue.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's an easy sell. A whole bunch of mini
It's
games.
so frustrating though.
Yeah,
There's zero skill to the game. You can just suck the whole game and then win at the end. Like,
I mean, it's for kids. It has to be. You need an equalizer between kids and parents.
Or just drunk people.
Yeah, that's
who don't give two shits.
Yeah, but no, I got my fucking battle scars from that game.
Yeah.
Never again. Yep. That's the motion.
Yeah. Also on the 17th is MechWarrior 5 Clans for Windows, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. I haven't played a MechWarrior game in ages.
Yeah, it's been a while.
October 18th, Retro Realms Halloween and Ash vs. the Evil Dead comes to Windows, Switch,
Yes.
PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series.
Yeah, we looked at those a little while ago.
What's that? Yeah, we did
those.
talk about
Yeah,
those
we
when they
talked
were
about,
announced at
they had
Nintendo Direct.
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah, we looked at the trailers for those.
Yeah, they look very cool. Also on the 18th is Unknown 9 Awakening for Windows, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series.
Don't know that one.
That one looks pretty cool. I think you've seen it before. It's the one where you play as this woman who can like possess other people to do things. It's a third-person action adventure.
Yeah, let me take a look at this.
It looks really cool. I think it'll be one of those like B-tier AAA games, AA. Is that what you call those games? Kind of like Banishers.
I really wish that the Steam store page had a progress bar I could move through in the web browser instead of having to be in the Steam app.
Oh, you can always just Google the name of the game and just go to images.
Yeah, I
or
could,
trailers
but
or videos.
I searched and it was just the Steam page was the first result that I got.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have seen this. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I think it was
probably-
at least one of the showcases that we've watched.
maybe.
But it looks pretty cool. So hopefully it turns out well. October 23rd, While We Wait Here comes to Windows, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series. This is a indie game, first-person narrative / restaurant management game. I played the demo.
Oh, yeah.
You're in like a diner that's caught in like a time loop or something like that, where the world is ending.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I liked it. I liked the demo a lot.
It's got fry physics and everything.
Yeah. Yes.
You take the fries out of the fryer and pour them, they actually tumble in.
Yeah. I love indie games that have that quality to them. I don't know. I'm not sure what the quality is, but like it's just something about it. Look cool.
Yeah.
October 24th, Date Everything comes to Windows, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series. This is the game, I think, where it's kind of like Big Brother.
Well, it's like all your furniture is personified as people, and you can date them.
That's not what I'm thinking of then.
No, it's like, whatever. It's visual novel. It's not really my thing.
Yeah, that's not the one I'm thinking of. There's a game coming out that's like Big Brother. That's kind of that same idea. Also on the 24th is Romancing Saga 2 for Windows, Switch, PS4, and PS5.
Yeah, and I was on my Switch. I have Romancing Saga 2 on there, so this is another remake / re-release of that game.
Oh, is it? I thought it was. I I thought the first one came out in North America, but this is the first time 2 is coming out in North America.
No, there was there was a mobile version of Romancing Saga 2 that got ported to the Switch. Is this like a 3D remake or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this one is just like, it's not HD 2D, but it's just high resolution 2D art.
Oh yeah, I see it. Where's the 3D one? Unless I'm confusing it with another game. No. Yeah, no, it's Revenge of the Seven something or others is the... Revenge of the Seven, yeah. There's a demo out, I played it. It's a turn-based JRPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. October 25th, Black Ops 6, Windows, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series. I cannot believe that they are still releasing Call of Duty on old gen. Fuck off.
They did that with, I think Black Ops 4. They put out a 360 and PS3 version.
So fucking stupid. You want to know why people aren't buying PS5 and Xbox Series? It's because there's no reason to.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. Stop buying. They've never done this before. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's been going on for way longer than it.
We're almost at year 5 of this generation, people.
Yeah, it's never
Leave it
gone this long
behind.
Before.
Like, are we still going to be releasing PS4 games when the PS6 is out? Like, fuck off. It's so infuriating. I cannot believe this shit. I'm trying to picture how good a Call of Duty game would look on current gen if it wasn't held back by these old generations. And
well,
don't tell me these people that are like, no, the current gen's not, or the old gen's not holding these games back. Yes, they fucking are.
I don't know.
Or they're basically made for old gen, and then you get the higher res textures and all that shit.
Well, that last gen Black Ops 4 or Black Ops 3 or whatever it was looked pretty bad.
Maybe it was different back then, but
it looked like a downgrade from the real version.
Yeah. But, like, I'm sure if I played the PS4 version of Black Ops 6, if it was on PS4 Pro, it probably would look great. I'm so sick of seeing PS4 and Xbox One next to so many of these games. Like, are you 5 years into the fucking consoles? We're still getting old games or old console games. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
It pisses me off as a consumer who purchased this thing and didn't need to, you know?
Well, gotta sell as many copies as they can to pay for that Activision acquisition.
Yeah, I'm really...
Oh, you know what it might be? Maybe they were legally compelled to as part of the because you remember how there was like a big kerfuffle there was between Microsoft and Sony when they were doing like the regulatory investigation for Microsoft acquiring Activision, and they had to agree to all sorts of stipulations, like continuing to release COD on PlayStation. Maybe a PS4 version was part of that. Maybe they're legally bound to.
Well, I mean, if they're releasing one on Xbox One, I assume
but if they're
they would have to.
Yeah,
PS4.
if they're going to do it on PS4, they might as well make an Xbox One version as well. Maybe
or the opposite way. Like maybe they were making an Xbox One version and they had to, so that they had to make a PS4 one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm over the fact that we are this far into the generation. There's still old gen games coming out. It's just insane. Just bonkers.
That's why
at what point are they going to be like, no? You know?
Yeah.
It's gross. I hate it. It really makes me, like, not want to buy a PlayStation 6 when it comes out and just wait and see. Because, like, I've got so much buyer's regret for the PS5.
Yeah. Just wait until the PS6 Pro comes out. Get
that
instead.
It might actually be a better idea. Just wait for the Pro edition of the 6 and be like, all right. Even then, like, maybe I wait for PS7 and then I can play all my PS6 games. Like, just skip a gen. It's like, fuck.
If you did that for the PS3, you'd be in some trouble, though, because the PS4 doesn't play PS3 games.
Yeah.
You can never tell.
They're never going to do that again, though. I can't imagine they'd never do that again.
Never say never.
Yeah. All right,
it's Sony. They can always figure out a way to fuck it up.
Yeah, as we've seen. October 29th, Life is Strange Double Exposure comes out. Windows, PS5, Xbox Series. Look at that. A current gen game.
Yep.
Fantastic. I want to play that one. I thought you'd be interested in this one. Clock Tower Rewind comes to Switch,
Yes.
PS4, and PS5.
Yes. Love that game.
Is that a remake or just a remaster?
That is a remake.
Oh. Let me look this shit up. Clock Tower. Oh, what is it called again?
That was a point-and-click survival horror game exclusive to the Super Famicom. But it was a game that got an unofficial fan translation, and I played the shit out of it on an emulator. And the sequel did come out in North America on the PlayStation, but it's devoid of the context of the... I mean, there's like a quick recap at the beginning of the game, but it's devoid of the context of the first game. It doesn't hit the same, but if you have played the first one, and then
this doesn't look like a remake. This looks like the same game, but just remastered.
Well, I mean, it's like I believe it's all new graphics.
Is it?
But it's not. Well, let me look it up.
It looks. Let me look it up. It looks the same. Oh.
I think they like HD-ified it.
Yeah, I think they just like up-res the shit out of it. It looks good, but I don't think it looks like they did anything different. I could be wrong.
Oh, really? No, I'm looking at this, and it is the Super Nintendo. Is this just like an old graphics mode, or did they really not?
Yeah, no, it's the same. It's just a remaster. It looks
interesting. I could have sworn that they were doing.
It looks like it's out on PC already.
Well, that's unexpected. I was certain that they were, because I saw all this new art for it, you know, and all these animated scenes, and I thought, well, of course they must be, you know, redoing the graphics, but I guess they're not.
No, this is from Limited Run Games, so that actually makes sense.
Well, the physical version is being put out by Limited Run Games, but
yeah, they typically do like
this is a Way Forward game.
Yeah.
Well,
weird.
It's Way Forward doing this was a game by Human Entertainment, which doesn't exist anymore. They were known mostly for the Fire Pro Wrestling games, I believe, which were also largely a Japanese thing. But I played the absolute shit out of the original game back in the day. Not back in the original day, back in the emulator day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a graphic as hell slasher game for the Super Nintendo, so you can imagine why it didn't get released in North America.
Definitely. Yeah. Looks cool though.
Yeah, and
I remember you always talking about them.
With a bunch of teenage girls as well. Like you open the shower curtain, you see a teenage girl like strung up dead in the shower. Yeah, wow. I can see why Nintendo didn't want this released in North America.
Until now.
Yeah, well now they're fine with it. Now they don't give a fuck. But back then
now they'll put Call of Duty on their shit. So.
Yeah, now they're back then they were trying to keep the image squeaky clean.
Heck, I think they published Mad World, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
That game's crazy violent.
Yeah. All right, almost done through the games of October. It's a big month, as it usually is every year. October 30th, Pokemon, the trading card game Pocket, comes to mobile, which actually looks kind of good.
Yeah, the Game Boy Color Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was
so underrated. I have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the card game in. Which I always thought was really weird. Like, you made the video game, then you made the card game, and then you made the video game of the card game. I understand it with Magic the Gathering because it was a card game first, but that seems kind of backwards. But it was good. It was like...
Yeah, it's really good. Great music.
Yeah.
It was basically the framework of a Pokemon game.
Yeah,
where you go to like the different gyms.
Except instead of using Pokemon, you played a Pokemon game in which Pokemon were fictional creatures.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really good.
It's super meta.
Yep.
You're playing a video game about a video game where it's it's Alan Wake.
Yeah. It's the Alan Wake of
Alan
video
Wake,
games.
The card game. Oh god, Can you imagine?
Huh. The cards come alive. And finally, on Halloween Day, October 31st, Dragon Age Veilguard comes to Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series.
Oh, that's right. That's coming that soon.
Mm-hmm. Also on that day is Horizon Remastered for Windows and PS5, as we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And Redacted also comes out on Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series. So, quite a packed month.
Yeah.
October is a beast.
A lot of games.
That's a lot of games. It definitely makes you wonder, like, how so many developers exist. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 games on the notable list for October.
Jesus Christ, that's almost one for every day.
And
do you remember back when the GameCube would go stretches where it would have like one new game a month?
oh my god, yeah. We are far from that land.
There was a month where the GameCube had no new releases. It was just once. But it did at least in North America.
I don't know how these games survive, or these developers survive. Like, I really don't.
Yeah.
With this many games coming out in a single month, like,
when do you sleep?
no one has the time to play all of these games, first of all. No
That's
one has the
the neat
money
thing.
to buy
You
all
don't.
these games. Yeah, like, you have to pick and choose.
That's why they're all unionizing.
Yeah.
They don't get to sleep.
Man. Out of these games, the ones I want... I mean, I want a lot of them. I'm not even going to go through them. I want a lot of them. That brings us... Unless you have any other news you wanted to share.
No. We've spent like an hour on the news.
Yes, we have. So let's get on to topic of the week. This week we are talking our 5 biggest time sink video games we've ever played.
This was the easiest list I've ever made. I made it while we were in the pre-show call.
I had to do a little bit more research for mine, but for the most part it came pretty quickly. I feel like I'm probably forgetting something huge out of this list, but we'll see. We'll see.
God, it's a good thing that we only did 5 this week, because this is already...
Yeah, it is.
It's already so long.
Yeah, we're at 2 hours. Yeah, this won't take too long, though. It's only 5 games each. Why don't you kick things off? Do you want to do them in order from, like, most played to least played?
I have no idea what that order would fucking be.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm pretty confident I know. But
okay.
We'll see.
So, I alluded to this earlier. No Man's Sky.
Really?
I was like, should I put that on my list? And I looked at how much time I'd spent, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should play it. So I've been playing it again these last 2 days.
Do you know how many hours it logged?
At least 200.
Okay. Wow, I'm surprised. Yeah, and I didn't get into that game. I tried many times.
It's a game that you do a bunch of the new stuff in, and then you go, oh yeah, the loop is just landing on planet and scanning things. And you can get really lost in that, as I sometimes do. And then sometimes the cycle breaks. And you don't play the game for 3 years, which is exactly what I did.
Doesn't a lot of people play it for the crafting now? Where you, like, build shit?
There's a ton of shit to build, so I would assume so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
can relate because I've sunk a lot of hours into other games, but
Yeah.
one of which maybe should be on my list.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is a game that, because it takes so long to get to the destination, which is the center of the galaxy,
which isn't even worth it.
It feels like a game that is more about the idea than actually playing it. I mean, I like No Man's Sky, and it's absolutely way better now than it was at release.
Oh yeah, at launch it was brutal.
But the thing is when you make a game with like that, it's more like the idea of it is cool than the actual game of it, because it's like, wow, you've got an entire galaxy to explore. But then it's like, oh god, there's so
nothing
much
in it.
There's so much to do, but also it's not actually as detailed as you think. But then, I like it, but I absolutely see why some people don't stick with it.
For
Because
sure.
I also haven't stuck with it like religiously. But I've spent over 200 hours playing with it, so
They've updated the shit out of that game, though.
yeah, they have.
27 major
Something like
patches.
that. Yeah,
Something like
it's
that.
huge.
It's crazy.
So good on them for
Supporting their game.
fixing the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's all I got to say about that.
I can't. I'm kind of looking forward to their next game. Light No Fire, I think it's called.
I have no idea.
It's basically No Man's Sky, but on a planet, like one planet.
So okay.
Like the whole gist of the game is that
They decided a galaxy. They bit off more than they could chew. The
Yeah,
first
exactly.
time. Let's scale it back for the next one.
yeah, Light No Fire is the name of their next game.
Okay.
So it's set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth, but the actual planet is the size of Earth in game.
Oh, so they're trading the procedurally generated universe for and the planets in No Man's Sky are not the size of actual planets. They're very small, but
Yeah.
they play with the.
You
sense
can
of
run
scale.
around them in like 30 minutes to an hour.
Well, it takes more than that to run around them. You could
Yeah.
fly around them
Yeah.
in probably about an hour, but no, they're not. They're not the size of real planets. They mess with the scale and stuff. But you can tell when you're like, 200 feet up in the air and you're getting re-entry heat on you. You're like, okay, this is obviously condensed. But otherwise they do a pretty good job of creating the sense of scale.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Very cool game. Just not definitely to a niche audience for sure.
Yeah. Also, love the color palette of No Man's Sky. The
Very
really
pretty.
saturated colors and
Yep.
yeah, it's very psychedelic looking. I love that.
Yep.
Never had a complaint about the game's art direction.
Yeah, we'll see
Well,
how
except for-
Light No Fire turns out.
Remember the video I showed you?
Yeah, the T-Rex.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. that was maybe a little problem with the art direction.
So funny.
That was a great video.
All right, my first one, like I said, I'm going to start from least played to most played. Least, I mean,
Well, at least out of these.
least out of the top 5 I've played the most of. Probably Cities Skylines,
Yeah.
the city builder.
Anything like that, you can sing a lot of time
Oh.
into.
That game was so good, dude. It is the best SimCity game of all time, and it's not SimCity.
Yeah, that's high praise.
Yeah, it's so good. It is perfect, which I think is a part of the problem that they're having with the sequel. That it's hard to live up to something that was
Yeah.
as good as Cities Skylines was, and it had no right to be that good. It was that good. They just
It's a similar thing to the Sims games where you make the Sims, you put out like 10 expansion packs for it, and then you bring out the Sims 2, and it
And
doesn't have
it's-
nearly as much content because
Yep.
it's a fresh new game.
That's exactly what happened with Cities Skylines 2, except
Yeah.
Cities Skylines 2 launched with bugs and lots of
Yeah.
problems. So
It just
they're
it
still
looks
working
bad
on
by
that.
comparison if you're not taking into account like, well, this is you're playing the Sims with all those expansions.
Yep. Yeah, I've dumped probably 150 to 250 hours into Cities Skylines. It's a really, really good game. I wish it was multiplayer. That's my only complaint about it. Because I remember the last SimCity game, the one that bombed. The idea of having it be multiplayer where you can visit your neighbors' cities and you can do like agreements, trade agreements and stuff between them. I thought that was really cool, and I hope someone takes up that mantle and does it properly.
What was it? SimCity Societies?
No,
that
it was
what
just
that one
SimCity.
Oh, it was just again the final
The reboot.
destination. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the SimCity reboot. That's the one that really crashed Maxis into the ground. Yeah, nothing but
They
good stuff to
spored
say
it.
about City Skylines. What's that?
They spored it.
Oh, no, they worse than Sport It.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I remember gearing up to play that
Speaking
game.
of games that are cooler in theory than they are in practice.
Yeah, I remember gearing to play that game with Greg Miller
Oh yeah.
because he was looking for people to play it with, and he didn't really have any PC gamer friends
Yeah.
at the time. And so I remember playing with him, but the game was so fucking buggy and so laggy. We were just like, what the fuck is this? I played it one time with him, and then never played it again. All right, what's your next one?
Morrowind.
Oh yeah,
Not a whole lot to say. It's an Elder Scrolls game.
it's
Fucking love them.
It's a beefy game.
Morrowind is still my favorite game in the Elder Scrolls series because it has the most beautiful landscapes and most varied terrain. I mean, obviously, it's not a looker compared to
No.
current games, but for its time, like for a game that came out in like 2002 or 2003, it's fucking impressive, man.
Yeah, I remember playing it on
maybe
Xbox.
maybe not the character models so much. The character models were pretty ugly even back then, but
Yeah, it was a
dude,
great game though.
yeah, it's a great game.
That was the game that almost sucked me into Elder Scrolls.
That was the game that sucked me into Elder Scrolls. If I had played Arena first, I wouldn't have been into it because it's like Arena is. I mean, Arena is fine for the time, I guess, but it would have taken something like Morrowind. Daggerfall would have also not drawn me in. I would have been like,
No.
there's too much here. It's possible to be too big.
Yeah,
Again.
no, I remember playing Morrowind and I played several hours of it, and then I think something else took my attention away from it, and I didn't go back to it. And then I played Oblivion, and Oblivion just did not click with me. And then
Yeah,
I played
Oblivion's
Skyrim,
always
and I was
good.
like, fuck, I love this game.
Skyrim is definitely better than Oblivion.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, Skyrim, funnily enough, has the complete landmass of Morrowind in it. But you know why it's there? It's there so that there's a silhouette in the distance when you see beyond the mountain borders of Skyrim. Because otherwise it would just be empty space.
Yeah,
And the place where you can see over is into the Morrowind province, which is right next to the Skyrim province. So
that's cool.
they have a polygonal landmass for it, but there's like no detail on it or anything. It's just there for the silhouette.
I'm surprised you don't play Elder Scrolls Online.
Well, you know how I am about MMOs. We'll get into that.
Yeah, but it's not. It is an MMO, but you can play that game alone. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not required to
but-
play it. It plays. It's Skyrim Online. It really is.
Yeah.
And it includes Morrowind and Skyrim in it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I never got into it either, though, so I don't blame you. My next game is Minecraft.
Yeah, that's an easy one to lose a lot of time in.
Yeah, I played it most on PC, but I've also dumped a lot of hours onto it on PS3. But at one point I had my own server with somebody, some friend of mine back in the day. I don't remember who it was, but we had a server and I was running it off my PC.
Oh,
Yeah, it ran well. I had a beast PC back then, but I mean, Minecraft's not exactly the most resource heavy in the world either. So, but yeah, I ran it off my PC, and me and my buddy would play it over the internet, and it was fantastic. I had a big world. I did like 2D art, like pixel art. So like I had a giant Mega Man in my backyard.
yeah.
It was. I mean, what can you say about Minecraft? I mean, it's fantastic. I will probably get back into Minecraft, but I'm waiting for a console version to have ray tracing. Because I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Minecraft is ugly now. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it was never meant to be pretty.
It was pretty though at the time when you looked at it from like a specific lens. You know what I mean? But now it's just ugly. The textures are ugly. Everything's not. It's not pretty. It's ugly
Nah.
now.
I don't think a game with box people necessarily needs to have ray tracing. It's neat that it's there, but
It makes it look so good though.
yeah,
It really
but
does.
It's one of those things where it's also kind of like clashing with the
It
very
does.
primitive art style.
It does, but I don't know
It's a neat option to
I
have,
like it.
and they should have it on the console versions. But
how it's on PC and it's been on PC this long, and how it was on the Xbox preview working perfectly fine
Yeah.
years ago, and it still hasn't been released. I
I
will
can
never
never
understand.
get back into Minecraft. I played it to see what the big deal was, and I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun, and I built some stuff, and I played it for a little while, and then I was like, okay, I think I've
Yeah, I played
I
it.
think
I beat the story, quote unquote, the
Yeah.
story.
yeah
Beat the Ender Dragon, all that stuff,
Yeah.
legitimately.
yeah.
Didn't no cheating, and then built like a huge town server kind of thing, and then fell off of it. I
It
built an
fun-
arena that was pretty cool.
It functions better as a toy box than it
Yeah,
does
yeah,
as a
it does.
game. It's very much. I mean, people have made this comparison a billion times. It's Lego.
Yeah, it
Lego
is.
isn't
It's
really
like-
about Lego isn't really a game. It's a creative toy, which is exactly what Minecraft is, which is fine. But once you've built everything you want to build with that creative toy, you don't really feel like
kinda done with
playing
it.
with it anymore. Unless you've got friends to play it with, right?
Yeah.
Because then you can make your fun with other people. But
Yeah.
I never did that. I just played it myself to fuck around and build stuff.
Yeah, I always played it alone or just with my one buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever that was. I have no clue who it was at this point.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next one?
The next one is Breath of the Wild, which I could also say Tears of the Kingdom, but I just said Breath of the Wild because that was the one that came out first. I actually looked at my playtime on those. They're the same. Well, I don't know if they're exactly the same because the Switch only logs your playtime in 5-hour increments. So, but both of them say at least 230 hours.
Holy shit.
So I've played both of them for essentially the same amount of time.
That's a lot of hours.
I'm just going to say Breath of the Wild because it came out first. Yeah, it's fucking Zelda, man. Open world. I mean, like I said, the original Zelda was kind of an open world game, but like Breath of the Wild was just fun to explore and fuck around in.
Yeah, it's one of the best exploration games of all time.
Yeah.
So is Tears of the Kingdom.
I just wish that you could have brought the motorcycle into Tears of the Kingdom, because I worked my ass off for that motorcycle.
Yeah, that was really dumb that it was like a DLC thing. I'm like, thanks for the motorcycle that I don't need anymore.
Yeah, because I've already beat the game. It's fun to drive, though. It is fun to drive.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. It's like, it's fun to drive, but it's like, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came too late, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And I guess you could just build your own in Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of liked having the stylish, ancient tech motorcycle. That was fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out what they do with the next game.
I have no idea what they're going to do with the next game.
I think it'll be another restart. I don't think they're going to make like another
of the whatever. Now,
yeah, it's not going to be it's going to be a completely new Zelda.
They can't use that map a third time. People won't stand for it.
Yeah, they might use the mechanics and the style.
I'm sure they'll probably use the engine, and they might bring some gameplay elements for it, but I don't think it'll be the same kind of thing.
No.
You know, unless they add, like, a sky world. Like they added the underworld.
Oh my god.
Like a proper sky world, and not just a few.
3 times as big. Now you got a giant landmass, a giant air mass, and a giant underground.
Maybe it'll be underwater or something.
Do it again. Yeah, an underwater one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man, don't put those ideas in my head.
No, because then the entire game is the water temple.
Oh god, that's such a bad temple. Terrible
Never mind.
Design. Yeah,
never fucking mind.
Oh, I never talked about this. I finished playing Under the Waves.
Oh, okay.
I should have brought this in what we were playing, but I finished Under the Waves, which is. I don't think it was a Quantic Dream developed game. I think it was a Quantic Dream published game.
They publish games?
Yeah, I know. I was
interesting.
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. I'm 90% sure. Developer Parallel Studio, publisher Quantic Dream. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It is super depressing. Basically, the idea of the game is that you play a man who...
But is it, like, well-written, or is it everybody died because I need to make it sad because emotions? I'm David Cage,
No,
I'm
so
a writer.
The premise of the game is that you play... It's like Firewatch. I think I've talked about this game before, possibly.
You've probably.
But
I haven't played Firewatch.
Oh, you haven't played Firewatch, okay. So you play a dude who you find out very early on was married... or is married, and they lost their daughter in a car accident.
Oh, yeah, I think you talked about this.
And it's basically all about him going away, and he lives in this underwater...
He went to Rapture. Not the Rapture, which is a different game.
It was just like an underwater station of some kind of like Firewatch, where he has to keep an eye out for wildlife and danger.
That's starting to sound like the Abyss.
Yeah, it has Abyss vibes, trust me.
Yeah.
But it is very heavy-handed, very depressing, very sad. But I think worth playing. But it is a slow as fuck game. Yeah. If you have no patience, don't play it, because you will be either bored out of your mind or frustrated, because it is very slow paced.
I find myself having less patience for games, but I'm not sure if that's less patience in general or less patience for bullshit. Because I'm generally a very patient person.
I agree, though. I think that's old age. I really do. It's old age.
Maybe it's just because we've played so many games and we're like, yes, okay, thank you. I've played a video game before. I know the walls are going to close in on me. Just do it. Just get it over with. I see the spikes on the walls. I know they're going to move.
Yeah. No,
it's just cynicism.
I played the trial for Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Oh, okay.
On PlayStation, which I think was a Switch game. And fuck the opening tutorial.
Oh, they're long as fuck. I've never gotten past any of them.
17 fucking windows every 30 seconds telling you every fucking thing you need to know about the game. And I'm like, I'm never going to remember any of this.
Dude,
stop sending these.
I fucking brought up Super Best Friends Play earlier. There was a video they did where they were doing Monster Hunter World. And they got 20 minutes into the video before they did any gameplay.
Yeah, it's
and
so
one of them
bad.
Called it out. Wooly's like, it's been 20 minutes, Pat. They're just going through menus.
It's bad. Yeah, Capcom, you guys need to fucking do something about that. That's it's egregious.
Those games sell like 3 million copies every time one comes out. People love
These people must just skip over everything and just figure it out themselves.
No. They're people who love menus.
Well, They're
the menu people. They love
the menu people.
They love the micromanagement. They love setting up wish lists and palicos and all their bullshit. And they sit through every time they get the chef's platter. They sit through the animation every time. They got to see those cats preparing the food. They're crazy people, but they buy every single one of those games. So Capcom keeps making them.
There's a food section in Star Wars Outlaws. Actually, each planet has a chef, like a mechanical droid that makes food for you, and you have to go through this like 5-minute QuickTime event.
Oh Jesus! Why do you have to go through it? It's the robot chef's job.
Oh, it's not you making the food; it's you eating the food.
What?
Yeah, you and Nyx, the little pet creature, share the meal.
Is this like Airplane, where the guy can't get a drink in his mouth and he keeps splashing himself with it?
You're just sitting at a bar eating. It's so stupid.
You've got fucking Parkinson's and you're trying to not spill the food. What the fuck?
The idea of it is to bond with Nyx, to get you to care about Nyx, and it doesn't work. I already cared about Nyx, so I didn't need it.
Yeah, making me do a QuickTime event to eat is not going to endear me
not a
to
short
your
QuickTime
gameplay.
event. It's 5 minutes long every time you do it. It does unlock a piece of gear basically for Nyx each time you do it.
Fucking Dance Revolution.
Yeah, it's bad. Anyway, we're way off topic, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You just said which game?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Okay. Anything more to say about it before we move on?
No.
Okay.
We've all played Breath of the Wild. We all know Breath of the Wild.
Okay. My third one I've talked about before, so I don't need to speak a whole lot about it, and that is Soldier of Fortune 2.
Yep.
Played the shit out of it online for... I couldn't even tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't even tell you. Probably played 30 matches every night for 2 years.
Yeah.
In that game. So, you do the math.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot.
In fact, I should have put this one in second. I've definitely played this one more than my number 2 slot, so just reverse them.
Yeah.
I've already talked about this game at length, so I don't need to, but great game, amazing multiplayer. I wish I could go back and play it and kick people's asses because I was so good at it. But I suck at it now. Because I'm old.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
My next game, Shroud of the Avatar, which I've talked about, I've talked about many times before. I was a Kickstarter backer on it. Always got to bring that up.
Yep.
Transparency. It's an MMO, and I've talked about how I genuinely have addiction problems to MMOs, but I've got like 700 hours on this fucking game.
Woo! What is it? What's it called again? Shroud
of the Avatar. Now, I will say a lot of that is loading screens because it was in early access.
And traveling.
Actually, no. It goes to a zoomed out. It's like a Final Fantasy game where you leave the town, you go to a world map.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I actually like that about it because it means that you can get around quickly and still have zones to go into and lots of stuff to do. And those zones can be pretty big. I thought it was a clever idea. It also makes it easy to add new locations to the game without having to dramatically restructure the game world. You just put a new
it's free to play?
Yep, you just put a new entry point on the on the game world.
I may have to try it.
Well, it may kind of be in maintenance mode potentially. We don't know.
Oh,
But, the development was handed off to a different studio, and some of the people still associated with it have recently announced that they're starting development on a new game. So
it might be toast.
It might be toast. But like I said, early access, it was sluggish because it was a game in development, and I also did not have the beefiest computer. So yeah, there were a lot of really long loading screens. But even so, I've spent shit tons of time on that game. I got my money out of it, you know. It's fine. It's fine. You know, it's an MMO. It's not the best MMO, certainly not the worst MMO. It was one that I enjoyed. If you like Ultima Online, it's probably a thing that you would like, maybe. Because that's basically what it is in 3D. Real 3D, not like the fake-ass 3D that Ultima Online introduced with Third Dawn.
Huh. It doesn't have a great concurrent player count.
No, it does not.
It never really did.
Hold on, are you looking on Steam?
Yeah.
Yeah,
does it have a separate launcher somewhere?
Yeah, it has an independent client. So
okay.
The Steam page does not reflect that, but
Gotcha.
The player count has definitely shrunk.
Yeah, its peak was in 2016, which was oddly before the release date.
Yeah, because early access.
Oh, it had early access. Okay, something must have happened in that month because it jumped from 79 to 356. But its current concurrent player count in the last 30 days is 24. So
yeah, there's not a lot of people still playing it on Steam. I think everybody.
Well, never mind. I was gonna give it a shot, but nobody's playing it. That's not a good sign.
It does. I will say this: you can play it single player and offline.
Oh, cool.
If you want to do that for some reason, I don't think that's going to make the encounters any easier, but
no,
you can do it if you want to. So it's not like if this game, or let's be realistic, when this game gets shut down, it's not just going to vanish. You can still play it locally. I have a fucking physical copy of it. It was one of the Kickstarter bonuses I got.
If only every MMO did that.
Yeah, if only they all had a contingency plan.
Remember WildStar?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to play that game. That game was so good.
Oh man.
Such a shame that those. I wonder if there's like a WildStar like player run
servers.
Yeah, unofficial server.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not they can figure out how the back end for that works, and some games it's easier than others.
Yeah, that game was so good. There's a forum post called "WildStar is the best MMORPG that deserved to die." Okay, I'll have to read that one. That's interesting. All right. My next one needs no introduction as well. Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
As I've stated on previous shows, I have 350 to 400 hours into that game. So, yeah, I've replayed it 1,000 times, and the one time that I played it for the most, I have 300 hours in it alone. Because I did all the arena stuff and all the baddies and all the unlocks and all the legendary weapons and all that shit.
Jesus.
So it's long been one of my favorite games of all time. So it's not surprising to me. But I would say that it probably takes a backseat to Soldier of Fortune 2 in terms of time played. I definitely have played Soldier of Fortune 2.
There's more replayability to Soldier of Fortune 2 because
it's a multiplayer game, so makes sense. All right, what's your number one?
My number one or number five or number what the fuck ever, because I don't have these in order.
Right.
Phantasy Star Online 2, which is kind of cheating because Phantasy Star Online 2 is technically 2 games. So there's Phantasy Star Online 2, which went for like 9 years before it got released in North America. And then like in the last year of new content, they launched Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, which is not Phantasy Star Online 3, but it's totally Phantasy Star Online 3 because it plays completely differently.
Oh, interesting.
But It is a sort of sequel to PSO2 story-wise, and also you can bring over your items. They don't have the same stats in New Genesis, because they don't want you having endgame weapons from PSO2 1, I guess we'll call it, into PSO2 2.
Is it free?
Yes.
Free to play?
Free.
Oh.
Yep.
Do you still play it?
I've still got it installed, so I can hop back on. I was waiting for there to be new content in New Genesis, because it was pretty sparse when it launched. But
I might have to check it out if it's free.
I played it every day for a year.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
So you have at least 356 hours.
Yeah, something like
it.
that. And New Genesis is actually really good. It's a much... I mean, you know how PSO1 was an action game, but it was kind of stop and go? PSO2 improved upon that, but it still had a bit of stop and go-ishness to it. PSO2 New Genesis is like fucking playing Devil May Cry in an online RPG. It's also set up to give you like really easy, cool anime hero guy moments, because you can come sprinting in with your light speed sprint and your trail of bullshit behind you, all your sparkles, leap off of a mountain, glide down onto an enemy that's like 10 stories tall being fought by 20 players, and do your big anime hero giant sword slash and look like a badass. The game is like engineered to make those situations happen, and it doesn't feel any less cool, even when you've done it like 100 times. It still feels badass. You feel like Zero at the beginning of Mega Man X. You know, where he comes in and he slices off the arm from Vile's like giant mech that's got X locked in. It's fucking sick, man.
I'm looking at the reviews for it. Got mixed reviews recently. It says a lot of the reviews are saying it's boring.
Well, are they talking about PSO2 or are they talking about New Genesis?
New Genesis.
Yeah. I will say, the story in PSO2 is trash. I hate the characters. They're so irritating.
Yeah, it looks very anime, that's for sure.
It's super anime.
I don't think my computer could run this, looking at it visually. It looks pretty impressive visually.
Well, PSO2 would probably run because it's a game that runs on the Switch. There's like a Switch version of it in Japan, but New Genesis is definitely a more resource intensive game.
I can't find the original PSO2. Oh, there it is.
It's part of the same executable.
Oh, I see. So you download New Genesis and it's in there in the launch window.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
When you go into the game, you can say boot into PSO2 or PSO2.
Oh yeah, PSO2 Classic. It says. Gotcha. Well, let's see. Does it have pictures of?
You can do some pretty cool character customization in it, though, including like my objective was to make my character look like the most obnoxious douche. So at one point, I had 3 pairs of sunglasses all clipping into one another, and then another pair of sunglasses up on my forehead. Because you could just stack the accessories on characters. There's like a limit because they want to keep the polygon and shader counts down on characters, but I fucking now my character only has like 1 pair of sunglasses, but I combined a bunch of robot wings and now I look like a fucking I look like I have a Gundam hanging off my back.
Grody.
Also, in the original PSO2, your armor pieces show up on your character, and I had another set of wings that was part of my armor set and not just cosmetics. And in cinematics in the game, there would be scenes where the camera was completely blocked by all my accessories. I'd just be looking at a close-up of these wings sticking out because it's like an over-the-shoulder view of your character during a cinematic, but mine would be completely obscured. It was really funny and it was always a surprise because I never knew when those shots were coming up.
What was that MMO that we were talking about? Oh, Old Republic.
Ah, yes.
I really want to play that.
Is that still around?
Yeah.
They still doing that? Okay.
Yeah. I remember I stopped playing it because it bugged out on my computer, and I couldn't play it because it was through Origin at the time.
No.
And when I would install it, I would boot it up, and I would get this fucking like weird ass error. And then it would kick me out of the game. And no matter what I did, I tried uninstalling it, and it didn't uninstall properly.
Oh God.
So it got like locked half in my computer.
Yeah.
And then then I would go to reinstall it, and it would like, I'm assuming, use parts of the installation that were already there to reinstall it. So
whatever was fucked up.
So whatever was fucked up was still fucked up.
At that point, you have to like hunt down the files and delete them manually, then go into the registry editor and cut all.
It was definitely something in the registry because I deleted the actual game files from the system, and it still didn't work.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you poke around the registry. That's basically like doing surgery on your computer.
Yeah,
you could fuck things up really bad if you just delete things willy nilly from the registry. You have to be really careful about that.
Yeah, I ended up saying fuck it. I'll wait until the next time I reformat my computer.
Yeah.
And then I did that, and it worked when I tried it, but I just didn't get hooked on it.
I had to do like registry surgery on one of my cousin's computers after it got fucked up by a bunch of viruses. Because like you couldn't do anything, so I had to just go into the registry editor and find where it was hooked into the operating system and just, slice those connections with a scalpel. It actually worked, but it was a lot of work.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It took me like an hour to do.
So it says, what does it say for older? So it says, become a subscriber today. You can play for free, but become a subscriber to unlock new content.
There's a bunch of premium currencies and bullshit in there.
This is, the subscriber includes fully voiced storyline missions, a never-before-seen planet, and a special operation. So is it not free to play? Or do you get...
Last I played, it was free to play, and subscribing just gave you access to the premium currency. There's like 3 premium currencies in the game.
And cartel coins, it looks like.
Oh, that's a new one.
Maybe they changed it to just be cartel coins, because I only see cartel coins here.
Because there was like Arcs cash that you could only get through by paying real money, but then there were like star gems, I think, that you could get from just playing the game. I don't know.
Wow, the subscription's pretty cheap. Oh no, it's not. The subscription's kind of brutal, actually. Wow.
We can look into it later.
Yeah.
We kind of want to check it out. Here.
Yeah, only one game left on my list. Hold on, my computer froze.
Oh no.
Waiting for it to unfreeze. There we go. It does this all the time. I know it's still working. It just doesn't show me what it's doing.
Yeah.
All right. My last game should come as no surprise. Is also an MMO. World of Warcraft.
Of course.
However, I am embarrassed to say that I eclipse your 300 hours or so. Did you say
700 hours?
700 hours on PSO. I eclipsed that.
No, 700 hours on Shroud of the Avatar.
Right. What was their most one? Was that the most one?
That is the most one. I don't know which is the most out of all those. Like I didn't say I didn't order it. I just know that Shroud of the Avatar has the most.
So World of Warcraft, embarrassingly,
yeah,
I have played for 356 days.
Jesus
of gameplay,
Christ.
Which is equal to approximately 8,000 plus hours.
I see. That's like almost a year of your life, dude.
It is a year of my life. 357 days.
Well, a year's 365 days.
I know. Oh,
you said 357.
Oh, short. So yeah, so just short of a year.
Just short of a year.
Yeah, crazy. And I am not like a hardcore WoW player. I did not play Wrath of the Lich King. I did not play several of those MMOs. So can you imagine the hour count for these players that have played the entire time?
That would mean that you've probably... Well, I don't know, but you could argue that you've probably spent more time playing World of Warcraft than you have on the toilet. Which is weird, because your body needs the toilet, and it does not need World of Warcraft. Unless
I hate spending time on the toilet. I'm not one of these guys that sits on the toilet reading a newspaper or anything like that.
Well, unless
get in, get out.
You play World of Warcraft while you're on the toilet, which you could probably do with a Steam Deck or a good laptop.
Have a dookie while you're playing on a Steam Deck. I like it.
A Steam Duke.
The Steam Dookie. The Dookie Deck. Good lord. Yeah, man.
Imagine trying to raid while you're constipated. You're like, oh, I gotta beat this raid. I gotta get this turd out. Oh.
Hold on, guys. I got turtle head poking out.
You're on voice, and you're like, oh, okay, guys, I'm coming.
Well, this had a dark turn.
Yeah.
A dookie dark turn.
I was gonna say. Well, now I'm gonna say it. It wasn't a dark turn. It was a brown turn.
It was a brown turn. Yeah, we dropped a loaf on this podcast.
We gotta get off this topic.
Yeah, we got to shit or get off the pot. I'm gonna stop. All right, yeah. I played World of Warcraft Vanilla. I played World of Warcraft Burning Crusade, and then I quit. So I didn't play Wrath of the Lich King. I'm gonna look up what the expansions were here. World of Warcraft expansions list.
There's so many of them.
There's not as many as you think. They don't release them very. They release one like every 2 years. It's not.
Yeah, but the game's been out. This year isn't this year the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft? So it's like 10 expansions.
I don't think it's quite 10. Let me see. Okay, so there's. So I played Vanilla, Burning Crusade. I skipped Wrath of the Lich King. I skipped Cataclysm. I came back for Mists of Pandaria, and stayed for Warlords of Draenor, and then I left again. So I've only played really 4 of the games, ish. You know, the main game, Burning Crusade, Mists of Pandaria, and Warlords of Draenor, and I haven't come back for the rest. But in total, there is Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, Legion, Battle for Azeroth, Shadowlands, and Dragonflight. And I think the new one is The War Within. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, the 10th one is out now.
Yeah.
The War Within. Unless this list is missing one, which wouldn't
Well, I mean,
me.
there's there's WoW Classic, which they released, but I mean that's just.
Yeah, it's just which is entirely stupid, by the way, because.
Yeah, we talked about it. It's not truly classic because it's still got stuff from the modern.
But not only that, but they also added the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King expansions to it. So it's not even.
It's not even WoW Classic anymore. It's just let's go back in time.
Yeah, it's Wrath of the Lich King Classic now. They don't have a Vanilla Classic anymore because people got bored.
Can you imagine getting that and being like, "Oh man, I can't wait for WoW Classic to get Burning Crusade."
Right. That's what happened. People played Classic and they got bored with the end game content, so they're like, "Okay, let's put out Burning Crusade." So now there's like these 2 windows going on for WoW. One a classic window, and then like
there's just one 15 years back in time.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I know it's so stupid. I was so baffled by that.
What's going to happen when they get far enough in WoW Classic? They'll be like, "Oh, we want WoW Classic, and then they get bored of that. They introduce Burning Crusade.
Now there's going to be 3 windows. Yep. So stupid. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my god!
And they've already announced the next 2 expansions for WoW.
Of course.
World of Warcraft Midnight and World of Warcraft The Last Titan are the next 2. But yeah, I've played a shitload of that game. I ran my own guild in World of Warcraft that was very successful.
Hope you passed it on to somebody else, or else they're going to have no way of getting their lost inventory back.
Getting their inventory, yeah, I did. I ran it for 2 years. I was the raid leader and the guild leader. I ran a lottery. It was like a second job for me, honestly, at the time. And I really loved it because all the people were really cool.
Which you paid for the privilege of doing.
Which I paid for the privilege of doing, yeah. Although I did several times during like the peak of playing that game that I had members of the guild pay for my subscription. Because they had, as a thank you, basically, for all the work that I was doing. So I got to play the game for free.
Okay.
But also,
But then you feel obligated because now it's on somebody else's dime.
I was really into it back then. It wasn't until Warlords of Draenor came out and we had a new raid
Yeah.
start, because I was like bang on with that raid. I was leading it like a fucking war commander. Like I'm speaking into a mic to 40 people, going like, "All right, now."
Was it like that video of that guy who's like, "That's 50 DKP minus"? You know that one? That's an old one.
I mean, I wasn't a tyrant like that, no. But yeah, that's basically what I was doing. I was commanding everybody. I'm like, because it's unless you get like 40 elite WoW players, you have to lead them, because they don't play as much as you do. So you have to be like, you have to tell them exactly what to do and when to do it, because they don't get it. So they're instead of learning to play the game themselves, they listen to you.
Yeah.
To know when to do certain things. So I'm like, all right, shift left. All right, shift left.
This is why I'd be really bad with a group of people in MMOs, because they're like, I got this own strategy. No, you got to do it like this, but it's more fun for me to play like this. Yeah, and then that's like, and that is like, in all seriousness, that is a point of contention with MMOs, is that sometimes what's most fun for somebody isn't the most highly optimized DPS, and then people get pissed at them when they're just playing the game the way that's most fun for them. It's like, well, I subscribe to this game, I'll play it how I want. Yeah. You know? Like, I can't really argue with that.
No, I couldn't either. I actually had we had a hierarchy basically in the guild.
Yeah.
So I had a second in command who was causing rifts, because he wanted to do things differently. And I was trying to command the ship a specific way, and I eventually went up to him and I was like, why don't we split the group into 2 raid groups? You can lead one raid group, I'll lead the other raid group. And
so it's like casual and hardcore?
No, he was just like, I don't know. I don't know whether it was like a leadership complex problem, or if it was like he just, I don't know. He went against the grain on like almost everything that I was trying to do, and it was getting to the point where it was like,
you get your people, I get my people, and we'll just stay out of each other's way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he decided to leave the guild instead.
No.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. Go away then. Everyone stayed. No one left.
Yeah.
With him. So, but yeah, and then we went on, and we the moment that we defeated the final boss in that raid, which was Garrosh for the WoW people out there, was the Siege of Orgrimmar raid. I will always remember that moment. It was epic as hell, because we tried so many times to defeat that boss, and when we finally did it, it was a celebration that still gives me chills to this day thinking about it. It was so good. It's one of those gaming moments, so much time and effort put into it, and it paid off, and it was really awesome. Yeah, really cool. So yeah, my other time sinks that would have made the list, I think, but I don't really have an hour count, so I couldn't really confirm this. But Valheim, would probably be somewhere on the list, maybe. And then one that would be 6th place would be Helldivers 2, because I've played 200 hours of that already. So
yeah,
that one's pretty high.
Mine would just be all the Fallout games, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is probably high on that list too, although I can't imagine it's anywhere near the 5.
Yeah.
But I've played it multiple times, so it's a long game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is probably up there too. It's probably in the 150 to 250 range, I would imagine, because I've played it 3 times. Awesome. Well, you know what that leads us to?
Yes, it is my turn to guess.
Video game, 20 questions. I am ready for you, sir.
Okay.
Let's see what you can do.
I'm going to see if I can do this one speedy like you did it last week. I was so impressed by how fast you got through that.
Why, thank you, sir. I was impressed with myself. Couldn't believe I zeroed in on that game.
Alright, so, as usual, my first question will be, was this game released on or after January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
So, after J12K. Oh, yeah. Taking notes to myself.
Yep.
All right. Was it released on or after January 1st, 2010?
No.
All right. Before 2010. Is this game exclusive?
It was originally, yes.
It was originally. Used to be exclusive. But is not anymore.
No.
Interesting. Okay, was this game released on an Xbox platform originally?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Was this game on the original Xbox? So, it was an Xbox 360 game. It was originally exclusive. And based on the way you said that, I'm going to assume it came out between 2000 and 2010, but it didn't. It was exclusive, but became exclusive after 2010 at some point. Yeah, I got a few ideas. I'm just going to start with the obvious. Is this game a first-person shooter?
No.
Okay. So it is not anything that's in Halo Chief the fuck me.
Halo Chief. Halo Chief the Master Collection.
Hey. I got all the words right, just not in the right order.
I'm just glad that I'm not the only one who does that.
Halo to the Chief.
Sands of Remake.
Captain King. Somebody was like, why do they call him Master Chief? That's such a stupid name. That's like calling him Captain King.
Captain King.
Presumably not aware that Master Chief Petty Officer is a real naval rank.
Yeah, that's true.
People started photoshopping pictures of Master Chief with a cape and a crown.
Oh my god.
There's like that Halo 2 piece of key art where he's like diving backwards with the twin SMGs. You know, like sliding along the ground. But it's got the billowing cape and the crown on. It's so fucking good. Oh, okay. I gotta not get distracted by internet memes. So it's not a first-person shooter.
No.
Is it a third-person shooter?
No.
Okay, so it's not Gears of War. Yep. Okay, well, here's a question. I asked if it was exclusive, but I didn't ask if it was first-party. Was this a first-party game? Okay, not first-party. Interesting. So a game that was exclusive to the Xbox 360, but was not made or published by Microsoft. Interesting. God, this is gonna end up being like Deadly Premonition or something. Well, we can take care of that real fast. Was this a Japanese game?
No.
I didn't expect so, but I kind of wish you had chosen Deadly Premonition. I kind of wish that I hadn't said Deadly Premonition, because now I can't pick it because it'll be too obvious.
That's always the trouble with naming games on previous episodes, right?
Yeah. Let's see here. Did this game... Okay, you don't need to point at the next. That's our next YouTube short right there.
Oh, no. It's your fault.
Well, you're the one who controls the channel, so...
It's true.
I don't have access to it, so I can't do that.
You give me a short, I'll put it up. I don't care.
Okay. Let's see. Damn it, I lost my train of thought. You glossing your nipples. Thanks a lot. Shine them up.
My giant space octopus nipple. And my fireballs.
Yeah. Your suicide bomber.
Yep. So that's what they call it these days.
Yeah, all right. So, Jesus, where was my train of thought going?
Not Japanese. What was your last
Japanese, so it's not Deadly Premonition. I probably shouldn't speak directly into the keyboard. That doesn't pick up audio. 360 game that was exclusive, but isn't.
Indeed.
Wait a minute. No. But maybe? No. No. I don't think he would do that, because that's an expansion. I remember that the GTA 4 expansions came out first on the 360.
I will say I would not pick an expansion.
Yeah,
it would have to be a full game. I think that should be a rule for sure.
Yeah. Even though, like, because Ballad of Gay Tony and what was the other one? Lost in the Damned.
Yeah, Lost in the Damned. Yeah, that sounds right.
Those were like standalone expansions, but I mean those are still expansions.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing to do back then for some reason.
Yeah, just like Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
Yeah, but didn't you need to have the full game in order to get those?
It was a standalone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. And it can't be Red Dead Redemption because that came out on the PS3 as well. And it can't be Dead Rising because that's a Japanese game. Ooh. Tricky. It can't be Sneak King. No. Could it be? It could be Sneak King. No. There was an original Xbox version of that, wasn't there? Wasn't that a game that had the Xbox original version on one side and the 360 version on the other? Like to maximize how many people they could give it out to at Burger King?
I'll look that up for you while you're thinking.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yep, it was for original Xbox and 360.
I can't believe I remember that.
That's crazy. Sneak King.
I never played that game.
It's not good.
Of course it's not good. It's a fucking Burger King game. It's all about the joke.
It's the meme, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. What was exclusive to the 360? Man, I'm having trouble thinking of something that was, but wasn't first party. I mean, for the original Xbox, there's tons I can think of, but it's not on there. Let's see. I had a really... No. Well, no. Unlikely.
I feel your struggle.
Yeah. It says it's not a third-person shooter, so it can't be. Shit. Because I was about to lean towards Mass Effect. Those are third-person shooters. Let's see here. Well, let's cut off a large swath of possibilities. Was this game published by Electronic Arts? So it definitely cannot be Mass Effect. And it can't be a ton of other stuff. Okay. So much back then, as today, was multi-platform. Because that was the point at which the distinction between the capabilities of the PlayStation and the Xbox basically vanished. Because like the PS2 was like way behind in terms of what it could do versus what the original Xbox could do. In most regards, I know there's some like I know people are gonna be like, oh, but the PS2 had a greater fill rate or some shit like that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I know. It's not apples to apples here, but point is, so there was so much that was multi-platform. I'm having a hard time thinking of something that wasn't first party and was exclusive. Shit, it can't be BioShock because that was on PC and it's also a first-person shooter. Let's see, but it wasn't multi-platform forever. So, was there something that they delayed in getting to the PS? Maybe that.
What do you think, people out there? What are you thinking? Have you figured it out yet, people?
I have an idea. Was this an Xbox Live Arcade title?
It was.
Oh, I'm back in it. Because that's where a lot of the exclusives were.
It's 11.
I am now back in
XOX Live Arcade.
Damn it. Whatever.
It's fine.
Nobody's going to see that. Nobody would have known about it if you hadn't opened your stupid mouth.
Whoops.
Can't talk or type.
Pulling back the curtain.
Yeah. Stop that. Stop it. None of that. Wait until the camera's off.
You got it.
You don't want to be Dark Side Phil here. That's a rabbit hole we don't want to go into.
No.
Oh.
It's definitely not a hole we want to go into.
Oh, God, no, please. Was this a twin stick shooter?
No.
Damn it! Well, it's not Geometry Wars. Okay, what was exclusive to the Xbox Live Arcade prior to 2010? It can't be State of Decay, because that was post-2010, I think. But would that count as a third-person shooter? I guess it kind of would. But it was also, I mean, that counts as a first-party title, because they own Zombie, Undead, whatever.
Undead Labs.
Yeah. Those guys still around? I don't think they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're making Undead, or State of Decay 3.
Really? Huh. I guess they're kind of boxed in with a name like that.
Yeah. With a name like Undead Labs, I don't know what else they're going to do.
What are they going to do? Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Pulse 2? Yeah, I remember that shit.
They could do Zombies Ate My Neighbors too.
Oh, dude, they should. That's a good game. Let's see. God, there was so much great stuff on the Live Arcade.
The listeners are screaming at you right now.
Yeah. Was this a game that involved the use of physics? Like, is this a physics-based kind of game?
No.
So I guess it's not Mercury. That's a good game. There was like a Marble Madness game on the 360. I don't know if it was Marble Madness or something else, but it was basically Marble Madness. But it wasn't exclusive to the 360, I don't think. I'm pretty sure there's a PC version as well. Oh, you're giving me the look. Shit.
I'm looking at the people.
Oh, yeah. It's not physics-based.
It's good to know you're paying attention to me, though.
Yeah.
As I stare into this black void.
Yeah. You gotta, like, tape a photo of me to your monitor or something.
That would be more creepy than the black void. I'm just going to stick with the black void.
Yeah. I will take the abyss of nothingness over a regular picture of your face. Thanks for that.
Call 2K got a good webcam. You're the last one to...
Yeah. Well, it's not about getting the webcam. It's about getting
that's true.
It's about getting the field
Getting a setup
cleaned up. I gotta get like a fucking... Like a privacy screen, except instead of hiding behind it, I hide my apartment behind it.
Yeah, you could do that.
But I don't have the room for it.
Get one of those ones that folds up. Then you just leave it leaning up against the wall somewhere, and you just break it open to show.
I might have to do that. Okay, Live Arcade, come on, you can do this. It can't be Minecraft because that was out on PC first. Let's see. It can't be Angry Birds because I don't think that was even on the 360, and it was mobile first, and it was also post 2010. The game was 2012 or 11. It came out the same year as Red Dead Redemption.
I can hear Steve yelling at the screen right now, or in his car. I think he listens in his car. Could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll click. Let's see, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
13.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Not taking a new question record, that's for damn sure.
No.
I'm not taking a speed record, because you already, like, I'm way past where you were. God, that was fast.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, did this game have multiplayer?
No.
Shit!
This is 14.
I was thinking Castle Crashers.
Yeah.
Good game. And it was originally exclusive to Xbox 360. Fit all the other criteria. Damn it.
Yeah.
And I think Battle Block Theater was 2011. So it's not any of the Behemoth games. It's got to be something really obvious that I'm missing.
One day I'm going to wear a shirt with the answer on it and see if you ever
Fuck
notice.
You. I will absolutely notice. I do not need your patronizing attitude, sir.
With all the gaming shirts I have, I'm sure I could do. I'm sure I could pull that off at some point.
Of course you could. But it would clue me in right away.
I always wear a gaming shirt, so you'd never know if there was a difference.
Yeah, but I'd look at the shirt and I'd go, wait a minute. That fits the criteria.
At a certain point, yeah, you might.
I'm not doing that now because there was no Final Fantasy game that was exclusive to the Xbox 360.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think that through.
Now, if this was GameCube, I'd be like, oh, well, of course, it's Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Because that was a game that was exclusive in that period of time, but is not anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not an FPS, and it's not a third-person shooter. Well, it does have multiplayer, but it doesn't have online multiplayer, or at least it didn't back then.
This game does not, though.
Yeah. Shit! So it's not Uno, because Uno had... What was on the Live Arcade that later came elsewhere?
I know one.
No Well... No, it can't be Peggle, because that was published by EA.
It's a good game, though.
It's a great game. When the fuck is Peggle 2 going to come to PC? It's been a decade.
Yeah, they just didn't do that, did they?
What the fuck is wrong with them?
That's very weird.
And I only just found out, like, a few days ago that it did have a 360 version. I wish I'd known that before the fucking 360 market was taken down. I would have booted up my 360 for that.
Technically, you could just play it on an emulator, I guess.
Yeah, well, that was naturally my next thought, obviously. I've actually not played around with Xbox 360 emulation. Maybe I'll have to do that. I can't believe that I have to consider using an emulator for a last-gen version of a game that I already have 3 other games in the franchise for natively on Steam. How fucked up is that? Put it on fucking PC, EA. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why isn't there a Peggle 3?
Yeah, that's another question. Why isn't there a Peggle 3? Unless Peggle 2 just really sold like shit, so they didn't bother putting it on PC or making another one.
It's so good! And everybody loved it. Everybody loves Peggle.
Yeah, I don't know. Very weird.
It's not even on mobile. Like, how much of a win would that be to put out Peggle 2 for, like, iPad
oh my God.
or something?
The only thing I can think of about putting Peggle on mobile is that because it would have to be free to play. Well, it doesn't have to be free to play, but that would be what they would want to do. It would be too close to gambling. It's basically like playing Plinko.
Well, I mean, it would probably be like, we're getting way off topic here, but it would be like, oh, you can play 5 rounds for free, and then you gotta buy Peggle bucks. You gotta buy pegs.
I don't trust EA to do mobile games anymore after
I don't trust EA to do shit.
Dungeon Keeper mobile and then Plants vs Zombies 2. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It can't be Plants vs Zombies because that. Wait, does that have multiplayer? But that was like post 2010, I think. I hate myself so much when I don't get this. I always get way into my own head and struggle with these at around this point.
Yeah, this is usually the point of where I ask you if you're ready to.
But
quit.
of course, you're not doing that because I always say no, and you know that it's a waste of time.
Yep.
To ask me that. I'm gonna look at my 360 and see if it jogs any memories.
You cheater.
I'm not looking at my library of games. I'm looking at the system.
Oh, I see.
I'm turning my head, and the library of games would all be retail anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
God, I look at that faceplate and I'm like, the UI just comes flooding back to me.
All that comes back to me from the 360 era, looking at a 360, is the red ring. And how sad I was every time it happened.
Yeah.
All 3 times.
Let's see.
Twice. Twice or 3 times.
What were the big live arcade games? Come on. It's not Geometry Wars. It's not Peggle. It's not fucking half of the shit that I was into, apparently. Ooh. Is that a twin stick shooter? Is Shadow Complex a twin stick shooter? It does use both sticks and you shoot things, But it's not a top-down game. Oh,
Ask a question. You still have
hold on. Hold on. Is this a side-scrolling game?
Yes.
Okay, so Shadow Complex is potentially in the mix. Splosion Man is in the mix.
You're at 15.
Is Braid pre-2010? I don't think it is.
15. Yeah, you're at 15.
Let's see here. And, well, no. It's really frustrating having my sense of time screwed up by all this. Because there's so much that was released post-2010 because the Xbox... Shit. It should make it easier, but it kind of makes it fucking harder, even though it's more narrowed down.
You've got 4 questions and a guess.
I got 4 questions and a guess.
Got to think of other ways to
yeah.
narrow it.
Yeah. Does this game have an unusual movement mechanic? Like maybe you make yourself explode or can make your movements reverse in time? I'm trying to get Braid and Splosion Man in the same question.
It's a pretty vague question.
Do you need me to ask a different one?
Does it have an
unusual movement mechanic?
An unusual movement mechanic. Yeah. Technically, it's a weird... It's maybe the most unusual question I've ever heard for this game.
Well, I mean, I would consider blowing yourself up to jump an unusual movement mechanic. I would consider being able to reverse your path through time a la Prince of Persia to be unusual movement, because you typically move forward in time and not backwards. But that doesn't actually narrow it down for me, damn it! Fuck it. Do you blow yourself up in this game?
No. That's 17. There were 2 questions and a guess.
Can you reverse time in this game?
Yes.
Okay.
That's 18.
Did this game cause Jonathan Blow to cry in a dark room?
I cannot confirm or deny. But potentially.
Potentially? That's not a yes or no answer. All right.
I cannot confirm.
Let me be more specific. Did footage of Soulja Boy playing this game and having a great time with his friends cause Jonathan Blow to cry in a dark room?
I believe so.
Is Braid?
Yes, it is Braid. with your 20th question, you nailed it. Released in August of 2008 on 360, followed up by a PlayStation 3 release November of 2009.
Okay.
Followed by the anniversary edition in May 2024.
I should have led with the Jonathan Blow question.
Yes.
Damn it, I should have thought of that weeks ago. I should have just started every single one with that. And eventually I would have gotten to Braid.
Did Jonathan Blow cry over this game?
Jonathan Blow probably cries over a lot of games.
It's true.
But eventually, well, unless you would have deliberately avoided it to cause me to always waste a question, eventually I would have gotten it after one.
Yeah. You got it,
but
sir.
Success! I did it!
You got a success. You are 2 and 3.
Oh, man. I would have been
That's
really angry if I fucking not got that. Then I would have gone to cry in a dark room. At least I wouldn't be filmed while doing it.
Yeah, I didn't know how easy or hard that one would be, so... Yeah. I don't know what made me pick it. Like I said, I picked it when we got on the chat. So.
Yeah, because you were like, oh shit, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Probably because it was easy to think of, which is why I was being like, okay, this has got to be something that he could have thought of really quick, so it can't be something super obscure.
I don't know why it came to mind, but it did.
Yeah.
So, there you have it. That is Video Game 20 Questions. That is our show. As always, if you need to reach me, I am at COE_TJLeo on Twitter.
And I am at Ninjas on Twitter.
And you can email in your questions to be featured on the show to co.op.podcasts@gmail.com. I don't think we got anything else.
No, I think that's it.
All right. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and if you want to subscribe, click up here. And if you missed the last episode of Press Pause, a gaming podcast, you can click down here. Thank you for listening. Appreciate the support. Write in letters. And now, get back to gaming.
And now we rest. It's almost 10:30. We've been going a while on this one.